I refuse to not say evidence in quotes. Hi everybody, you're listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive. I'm Shannon.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Hannah.
Yay! Okay.
And I'm Hannah. I should have ended that on like a down beat.
Okay. Does anybody...
Tone.
Yeah. Does anybody have any announcements since we recorded 2 days ago?
I realized a really big assignment is due tonight, and I haven't done it. That's all.
Okay. Shelby, do you have anything?
Just that I need to stop spending money like the sad person that I am.
Same.
Anyway,
I understand.
I buy things for instant gratification, and then I'm happy for 2 seconds, and then I'm sad again, and then I buy more things, and it's just a really bad cycle.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome to millennial life.
There's a hole in my heart and stuff can't fill it.
It's a black hole.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yup.
So we put in the show description for, technically, whenever y'all hear this, it will be last week's episode, but for the episode coming out tomorrow for you two, I put in a thing in the episode description saying, hey, there was a weird thumping noise and we don't know what it is. Sorry.
It was
I
Shannon.
figured out what it was. Yeah, it was me. Well, I mean, it was on my audio track, so we knew it was going to be me somehow. So we all fidget while we're recording, and my form of fidgeting is to play like a game on my phone. You know, I'm still listening, but I'm not actually fiddling with anything loud normally. This time, so my mic is on like a floor stand, because earlier when I was resting on my desk, it picked up every single time I hit my desk, and I move a lot, so that's a problem, so I got a floor stand. And this time, the floor stand, like the pole, was touching my desk, and it was picking up the vibrations from my thumbs touching my phone playing this game.
LOL.
I'm really mad.
She made her job so much worse.
It was so bad. Like, I was saying to Shelby before you got on, Hannah, like, that is the worst recording problem any of us have ever had. And it was because I was playing a fucking game on my phone.
Oh,
Also,
good. It wasn't one of us, because we get yelled at all the time.
Well,
I was
you're
gonna
still
say-
doing it!
I know.
For that-
Listen, I have such bad ADHD. I don't know. I'm sitting here, like, holding my fists together so I don't touch the tweezers that are in front of me, and I really want to touch them. Do you know what I do most of the time during class, in front of people on Zoom? I will pluck hairs out of my face.
Same.
Like, in full view of people. I don't give a shit. Whatever. I'm bored. I have to move my hands. So I pick my face until it bleeds.
Yeah, I just turn off my camera and then I cross-stitch during class. Unless I need to take notes, then I have my camera off still. But, you know.
That's not an option for me.
Oh, it is for us. And even if it's
There's
not,
only, like,
I leave my
6
camera
people in my
off.
class.
Oh, yeah. No, I have my camera off at every opportunity. Okay. Moral of that story is that I created the problem, and I'm really mad at a lot of different things, including myself. So, are we ready to go to the topic, then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, there is an episode 42 folder.
Yay.
Yeah.
And PowerPoint.
Yeah, I have a PowerPoint.
Oh, my
Holy
neighbors
shit, are those all
here.
your sources?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. I didn't end up using all of them, but
Then
I have
take
a lot
them
of
out.
sources. Well,
I don't...
it doesn't matter.
Listen, I want to say something as an English teacher.
Jesus Christ.
If you
What?
don't use the source, you have to take it out of your bibliography.
Yeah, this isn't a submittable paper, so...
I understand. I'm
Yeah.
just saying to the public in general,
Yeah.
if you do not use a source, don't put it in. If you did use a source, you
Actually,
have to cite that shit.
I think
That's
I
all.
used
Thank you.
most
Goodbye.
of these. I think there's only like 4 or 5 that I didn't use. So
Like, I feel so guilty because for Chernobyl, I listened to the first maybe 2 minutes of a podcast about it and decided I hated it. And I was so torn. I was like, do I need to cite this? Because I fucking hated it and I didn't use any of their information. Mm-hmm. But I still didn't.
Okay, so we are talking about the theory of ancient aliens today.
Oh my god, I have so many issues with this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do too. That's why we're talking about it. So,
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, this is not a pro-ancient aliens discussion today.
Yay! If you're pro-ancient alien, you can get the fuck out.
Yep.
sad
So yeah,
day.
as Hannah alluded to, I have a shit ton of sources. So I'm not going to list them all. And instead, after each, like, quote, I'll say where it came from. That seems easier. Because a lot of my notes are quotations from these sources. That just seems way easier. So, and then just for, like, an overview of what we're going to discuss, like, in what order. So first, we're going to talk about, like, what the theory actually is. We're going to talk about the history of it as best I could find. Quote-unquote evidence or examples of the theory, the main proponents of it, why people believe it, because I think that's a very interesting discussion, and then why it's all bullshit. So,
Yay.
I
yeah.
was just talking to my cousin today about how freaked out I am about aliens. And now here you come in with this bullshit.
I've been planning on doing this probably a week or two, so I didn't just decide this randomly, I promise.
Oh shit, what's that word that I love so much that nobody knows?
Yeah, I can't help you.
No.
It's a medieval word, I can't remember it.
I
Wheel.
really can't help you.
You'll say it and I know it, but like with that
I
description,
put it in a
can't
story
help you.
recently. I'm gonna look it up.
That doesn't
Keep
help
going.
me either. Can I keep going? Okay.
Yep, let's
So,
Of course,
the theory. So let's go to slide 2.
Woo.
This is a cave drawing from somewhere that is said to depict aliens because they have little domes over their heads. Whatever.
That could
So-
literally be anything.
It
And
literally
it
Really
could
bad
could
be-
hair day.
Yes.
Me in the
It could
morning.
be.
I don't know.
Yes, it could be lots of different things. So,
Could be that they were depicting one of their deities. Yuki, stop
well, that's the thing. The deities were actually aliens, if you believe this theory. That's the thing. So,
if you say
jumping
so.
jumping into the theory itself. So the actual name of the theory is ancient astronauts. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I don't know why there's a difference. I don't.
Wait a minute. Stop. Wait. That implies that okay, because the word astronaut is heavily connected to like the United States and Europe. Like astronauts come from the United States, you know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
cosmonauts come from fucking Russia.
Okay,
And-
you have to understand. The people who made this theory don't understand that.
I understand. All right, the word I was looking for was peradventurous.
Yeah, I never would have understood. No,
nope.
would not have pulled that out of anywhere.
It means like it kind of means like it happened by chance.
So coincidence? Why not just say coincidence?
Because peradventurous is a way cooler word.
Okay. Okay, so
And it
yeah.
also doesn't it means like it happened it was a coincidence by an adventure. Like by whatever. Fucking you know what, kill me. I don't know what to tell you. I was just trying to get this one word.
Okay. So, yeah, the quote-unquote actual name of the theory is ancient astronauts. If you're looking for a Wikipedia page on this theory, that is what it is called, is ancient astronauts. If you look for ancient aliens, you're going to get the Wikipedia page for the History Channel show, which we will talk about. Not a whole lot, but we will be talking about it.
We're gonna talk about
So-
that fun dude
Oh,
who
yeah.
always just goes aliens.
Yeah, we will.
With
Again,
a very
in
Greek
detail.
name.
Yes, again, in detail. So, the basis of the theory, there are like 2 prongs. The first one is that humans are, quote, either descendants or creations of extraterrestrial intelligence who landed on Earth thousands of years ago, end quote. That came from Wikipedia. This one has like a sub-theory, and that is that humans evolved independently, but, quote, that much of human knowledge, religion, and culture came from extraterrestrial visitors in ancient times, in that ancient astronauts acted as a mother culture. And that also came from Wikipedia. So, that's the first one, is that we came from aliens, basically. The second prong is that travelers from outer space, referred to as astronauts or spacemen, or probably aliens, I don't know, that these beings built or assisted with the construction of many, like, ancient structures, such as the pyramids, Stonehenge, stuff like that. So, which we'll get into why that is problematic
Way
much
to take
later.
away
but we will get
everybody's
into it.
agency, but it's fine.
We're gonna get to it later.
Feelings about that.
Oh, I know we're gonna
my
get to
God.
it. I'm just gonna make my snap little comment.
Okay, so proponents of the ancient astronauts theory do not necessarily believe both of the prongs. Like, there are people who do believe both of the prongs, but some people only believe one or the other. I don't know why. I don't understand. Whatever. So, and that's basically it. That is the entire theory. At least viewed, without the broader societal context. So if we can go to slide 3, we're going to get into the history of all of this. So I could have gone into a much deeper dive on this, but the thing is, the history isn't really clear as to who exactly originated this idea. Because it's an idea. Those are sometimes really hard to trace back to an individual human.
Mm-hmm.
And so one idea is that 2 ding-dongs may have taken H.P. Lovecraft way too seriously and created this theory. So there are these 2 men whose last names... Yeah, it was Powell.
Can I talk about Lovecraft for 2 seconds?
You're going to say that he's really racist? Because we're going to get there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're going to
never
get there.
mind. I'll shut my mouth.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay, bye.
So, when we get to that section, you can talk more, because literally my entire line is, he was racist, and then I move on. I don't give examples.
I would just like to discuss what he named his dog.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that, so we can talk about that when we get to that section, if that's okay.
Yarp.
Okay, cool. So it was these 2 guys whose last names were Powells and Bergier, I think. I don't know. They read the Call of Cthulhu, which that's what this image is a probably DeviantArt drawing of Cthulhu. Wow, I can't say that. And I've not read anything by H.P. Lovecraft ever, but according to the Mental Floss article that this theory was covered in, that story features 3 statues which scientists conclude had to have been placed by aliens sometime in the distant past, and it was published in 1928. So these 2 ding-dongs then published, they read Call of Cthulhu and a bunch of other Lovecraft, probably, because I feel like if you read one, you're going to read more,
Yeah, Lovecraftians are very, dedicated.
It's not a one and done kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's
That's
kind of
one
like
word for
Stephen
'em.
King people.
Yeah.
It's like people who, if you say, oh, I really like Lord of the Rings, they're like, yeah, but have you read the Silmarillion?
Yeah.
It's like those kind of people. No offense to all my nerds out there, but you know who you are, and you're really annoying.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so these 2 guys published a couple books in the 60s, which claimed that aliens had in fact created many ancient structures. Quote, and again, they're basing this all off of this one short story by H.P. Lovecraft. So, quote, indeed, in the English version of Extraterrestrial Visitations from Prehistoric Times to the Present, Bergier writes that although Lovecraft was fiction, he collaborated with a known scholar on the Middle East. So, subquote, I guess, it is not impossible that at least a part of Lovecraft's myth may be verified when the empty quarter is opened to exploration, end all quotes. And that came from Mental Floss. So they were like, yeah, we know it's fiction, but maybe it's not.
It could have some truth to it. Okay, so could everything else on the planet.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say that.
Yeah, it's dumb. So, I will say these 2 men don't show up as major ancient alien theorists, anywhere that I've seen, other than, this one article. I did not see their names anywhere. That may be because they were overshadowed by others, because there's, this one dude who's, really, important and well-known within this field. So, they may have been overshadowed. This whole theory also was only claimed in, one book, which was then quoted in Mental Floss. So, I don't know how true this is. I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's an interesting theory. And again, we don't know who actually came up with it, so why not present multiple theories?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so one person who's credited with proposing ancient astronauts as a serious idea is a man named Harold T. Wilkins in 1954.
I do not like the name Harold. Fun.
I know.
That's the doll that haunts me.
Yeah. A guy named Eric von Daniken brought it into popular culture in the 60s. We're going to talk about him a whole lot more later. And then astrophysicist Carl Sagan wrote a chapter in his and Joseph Shklovsky's in their book, Intelligent Life in the Universe,
Why do I know the name Carl Sagan?
He's a really famous astrophysicist.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like pre, what's that other one's name? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Stephen Hawking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't cite to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He kind of sucks as a person.
Listen, I'm saying in popular culture,
Yes.
Carl Sagan is the predecessor of
Yes.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay, so he and another, I'm assuming, astrophysicist whose name I can barely pronounce, they wrote a book called Intelligent Life in the Universe, which was and then within that book was a chapter about the possibility of alien contact sometime in the distant past, but they stressed that the idea was really speculative and unproven. And then this book came out in the 60s, I want to say. I didn't write it down. In his 1979 book, Broca's Brain, and this is all a quote from Wikipedia, Sagan suggested that he and Shklovsky might have inspired the wave of 1970s ancient astronaut books, expressing disapproval of von Daniken and other critical writers who seemingly built on these ideas not as guarded speculation, but as valid evidence of extraterrestrial contact. Sagan argued that while many legends, artifacts, and purported out-of-place artifacts were cited in support of ancient astronaut hypotheses, very few require more than passing mention and could easily be explained with more conventional hypotheses. Sagan also reiterated his earlier conclusion that extraterrestrial visits to Earth were possible, but unproven and improbable. So basically, Sagan really kind of regretted including this chapter in his book because it gave ancient astronaut theorists a lot more credibility than they otherwise would have had, because it's Carl fucking Sagan.
Well, Carl Sagan said it could happen, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's, not good. Final thing for, well, not quite final, almost final thing for the history. Media touting, promoting this idea has been around since, the late 1800s, early 1900s. There was a book published in, 1912 putting this theory forward, so, I have no idea who created it. It could have been any of the dudes I just listed. It could have been fucking H.G. Wells, because a lot of people blame him because it's War of the Worlds, so they're like, maybe they stole it from War of the Worlds. No. It could have been some crazy guy who ran into a science author. We have no idea where this theory actually came from. So, one of the problems with this, according to a 2018 survey, 41% of Americans believe aliens have visited Earth in our ancient past. And that's for mental flaws. That's a lot of people, in my opinion.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't think that they, built the pyramids or, left their technology or anything like that if they even did show up.
Well, and that's the problem, I think, is that most people don't hear this theory in any other context other than they did build those things.
Yeah.
And
so
I
it's
think that's why I'm uncomfortable with that statistic.
Yeah, I 100% believe that aliens exist because it doesn't make sense to me that in this giant universe that does exist, we are the only living creatures.
Yeah.
And the only planet that supports life. But then to be oh, well, they came to Earth and left behind some technology and built these structures, and when we have documented proof of humans building those structures, I'm just okay, yeah, you can believe in aliens, but they're not some gods who just are so much more advanced than we are or whatever. No.
Yeah.
You have no idea, and you're just making stuff up and touting it as fact. And I hate that.
Yeah. That's why I picked this, because I wanted to rant about it. Where was I? So the last thing with the history, which this isn't even technically history, it's more of just popular culture, I guess. So as I'm sure at least all of our US listeners are aware, there is a History Channel show called Ancient Aliens, and it presents itself as a documentary, which is a problem. But we'll get into that more later.
Listen,
the
History Channel
show
has gone down the toilet in the
It
past
is
10
such
years.
a joke.
It used to be great. It used to be so good.
I used to watch it all the
Absolute hot
time
garbage.
when I would stay homesick. I would just
Yeah.
watch like documentaries on the History Channel.
Yeah.
And now it's literally just like conspiracy theorists and like rich people digging up an island.
And like reality shows about
Here-
pawn shops. Like
Yeah, like it's so
Oh,
stupid.
do you want to hear the first
Like, the
few
History
things
Channel
that
is
come
a
up when you
joke.
type in History Show channel or History Channel shows? The Curse of Oak Island, which again is another conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Ancient
yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah.
That's the
Yep.
one where there's buried treasure. Let's see. Pawn Stars, American Pickers, Swamp
Yeah.
People, Mountain Men. This show is called, and it makes me ill, The Men Who Built America.
Gross.
The Bible with White Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, although, have you guys ever seen America, the Story of Us? That is a good show.
I think I have.
I think so.
It's old. It's 10 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
one's
yeah,
about
yeah.
Ulysses S. Grant. The Blue Book Project looks like an alien thing. The Unexplained with fucking William Shatner. What happened to you, Captain Kirk?
William Shatner was on an episode of Ancient Aliens too. At least one. He has been on more
He's
than
Captain Kirk.
one. Yeah.
Look, the History Channel had its heyday, but now it's a joke. Like, literally, if you ask any, like, American around our age about the History Channel, they'll bring up something about, like, the Pawn Stars
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, it's literally just a joke at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's not historical. Like,
No, it's not. And it used to be, and that's why it's not.
it used to be so good, and now it's gone the way of, like, the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
With
America's
their
Book of Secrets,
Sharknado.
which is what that fucking...
That's another conspiracy show.
I know, it's what that Nicolas Cage movie was.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one where he, like, gets the Declaration of Independence, National Treasure, that one?
Yep.
No, it's the second one, the Book of Secrets, where they're like...
Oh, I
"There's
didn't watch the
treasure
second
trove
one."
behind Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't watch that.
It's okay. There's a really horrible death in it that, like, really fucked me up. It's I don't know, tween, whenever I watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's like, why would they put that in a children's movie? Then I realized it probably wasn't a children's movie.
You know, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Ready to move on to examples / quote unquote evidence cited by believers? I refuse to not say evidence in quotes.
What are we
Yes,
on?
sorry, yes.
We're still on slide.
Wait. We have to talk about what H.P. Lovecraft named his dog.
We're not at the racist for him part yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
I added that a lot later. Okay, we're still on slide 3. So,
Oh.
yeah, we're still on slide 3.
damn.
Oh, it's actually his
Alright.
cat, sorry.
That's fine.
Ooh.
So, I want to emphasize this, even though we already have emphasized this. This whole thing is bullshit.
Yep.
So, this is a quote from Wikipedia. Among scientists, the consensus is that the ancient astronaut hypothesis is not impossible, but unjustified and unnecessary. The mysteries cited as evidence for the hypothesis can be explained without having to invoke ancient astronauts. Proponents look for mysteries where none exist. End quote. And again, that's from Wikipedia. So, like, I just want to provide examples for context and as a look into, like, the mindset of believers. I'm not going to get really far into these. And this isn't a huge list. Because, like, at their core, literally all the explanations is, like, we as non-scientists don't understand how they did this. Therefore, aliens did it. That is the explanation every single time. So,
Cool.
yeah.
That's not evidence.
No, it's not. We're gonna again.
Also,
we're gonna
that's
get
just
into the
bad science. The whole point of being a
They're not
scientist
doing
is like,
science. That's the
well,
problem.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the whole point of science is to be like, oh, here's my hypothesis, let me test it. Oh, it's not that, then all right, let me test something else. It's not that, all right, let me test something else. So, like, it's just tests until you figure out how it was done. Like, to be like, I can't figure it out on the first try, so it must have been aliens. Like, that's just... Go back to 8th grade biology, okay? Like,
It's a specific logical fallacy, which we'll get into again
yeah, it just
later.
it just irritates me. Like,
Is it It's
We'll get to
Wait,
it
wait,
later.
don't tell me. Can
Let
I
me
guess?
talk. No, we're gonna get to it later.
Okay, but can I guess then?
Yes, you can guess then.
Okay, jeez.
I want to get through this, guys. I'm so tired today. Okay, so we can go to slide 4 now. They point to numerous religious texts, including the Bible. This is a drawing of some kind from Ezekiel,
angels.
I think. So these documents, like, and I'm saying documents like as a wider ranging thing because they also include other religious texts. I just included this one from the Bible. So these religious documents obviously contain descriptions of gods or angels or what have you. And proponents of the theory state that these beings were actually aliens. And that this can explain some ancient events, monuments, or religious, like, stories, I suppose. Such as angels. Or, like, they said, what was it? Oh, yeah, Noah's Ark. That was built by aliens, according to some people who believe this theory. So.
I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah. Like, just no. So, some more examples. So, if we can go to slide 5. Oh, wait, no. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out what I did here. Right. I know what I did. We're good. Sorry. These are Hopi cave drawings. I figured out what I did. Ancient astronaut proponents believe Hopi cave drawings of Kachinas, which were spirit beings. They believe the cave drawings of these beings found in the desert link the origins of the Hopi and Zuni tribes with quote-unquote star people. Which, like, no. I mean, I don't know, obviously, like, I don't know which specific, like, drawing they're looking at. But, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So, this is why I got myself confused. I had, like, the heading for this, and then slide 5, and then this, what I just said, and then slide 6, which goes on to the next thing. So that's why I confused myself. So if you can go to slide 6, these are the Nazca lines. So the Nazca lines are these huge, like, ground drawings etched into the desert in southern Peru. And people who believe this theory believe that these could have been made according to instructions from aircraft, and that the longer lines could be runways for spacecraft.
No.
Or they could just be cool lines
Lines.
that people were like, hey, you know what? Swirls.
They were used for, like, ceremonies, or, like, their ceremonial pathways. It was how it was explained in the,
Yeah, like I said, swirls.
Yeah. So, like, they had a purpose, and, like, they were used within the culture. And then also, like, some guy was able to recreate one of the figures using wooden stakes and a string. But, like, sure, aliens did it. That's fine.
I'll ask Emma if she's ever seen them.
Yeah.
It's like the people who think that, like, Stonehenge is aliens, or, like, the White Horse of Dover?
I was going to say, probably not Denver.
Dover? I don't know. There's the White Horse in the hill in Europe. England, I think. Britain.
Oh, that would be Dover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, all those people who are like, that must have been aliens. And I'm like, but no. Just no.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you can prescribe to this.
Yeah, that's actually my next example is megalithic sites such as the pyramids and Stonehenge. And then that's it for, like, the main examples, just because, again, it's all the same bullshit, and I didn't want to get too into this part of it, because I wanted to get into the why it's wrong part way more. But there's one more thing. So if we can go to slide 7, there's, like, a weird creationist slant to this sometimes. So creationists are this subsect of Christians who believe that if dinosaurs did exist, because they dispute that, if they did exist, they existed alongside humans, and that the Earth is only, like, 6,000 years old?
Yes.
They're idiots.
So-
okay, that's what they are.
Some people, including the show Ancient Aliens, they had an entire episode about this, have put forth the theory that aliens destroyed the dinosaurs so that humans could live.
Thanks, aliens. Thanks,
then I
Mr.
have-
Spock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it totally wasn't like an asteroid or the ice ages or anything like that.
Yeah, that giant
just-
fucking hole in Mexico isn't proof that there was an asteroid or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and
It's
too,
cool.
like, in order to believe
And-
that theory, you kind of have to believe that dinos and humans existed at the same time, because there's a gigantic gap in between dinosaurs and humans.
Yeah, only about
Oh,
a couple
yeah,
hundred
there's-
million years, Shannon, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, so, like, just no.
There's a couple different, like, ages between
Yeah.
dinosaurs and humans, but it's fine.
Yeah. So this is just a quote. This is from a Smithsonian Mag article. Excuse me. So the rest of this is a quote until I say that it's not. The various ancient alien experts do little more than assert that such an event must have happened. Surprise, surprise, they provide no actual evidence for their claims. Instead, they borrow evidence from fundamentalist Christians, although they are never actually identified as such. And so this is just, like, sorry, just to pause here. This article was specifically discussing, like, this theory and that Ancient Aliens episode. So
basically, these people are they, like, don't believe in, like, Christianity, but they're taking all of the stuff from fundamentalist Christianity and, like, creationism.
oh no, they are Christians.
And just but they're, like, removing God and putting in aliens.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Back to
So
the quote.
basically, they're saying that aliens are God and, like, angels are aliens. And
I
what?
don't know. Let me keep
What?
going, because there's more that kind of, like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think these will answer your questions, but it's more to the insight into why it might be at
Okay.
least a little bit. So, creationist Michael, I don't know if it's Cremo or Cremo, is identified only as the author of Forbidden Archaeology, and Willie E. Dye is credited as a biblical archaeologist without any mention of his young Earth creationist views. Ancient Aliens producers clearly did not care about the credentials or expertise of the talking heads they employed, just so long as someone said the right things in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how that entire
That's
show
TV for you,
operates.
people.
That's how the entire show operates. Yeah, continuing on with the quote, and the creationists didn't disappoint. About halfway through the program, Cremo says, quote, some researchers found human footprints alongside the footprints of dinosaurs, end quote.
No.
The quote is a line out of context from Cremo's interview, but is played in a section claiming that the American Museum of Natural History paleontologist Roland T. Bird found human footprints associated with dinosaur trackways in the vicinity of Glen Rose, Texas. Bird didn't find any such thing. He found many dinosaur footprints in trackways, one of which he and his crew had partially excavated and anachronistically placed behind the Brontosaurus, which that's not even a real dinosaur, but they didn't find any human tracks. Strangely, though...
It might have been a brontosaurus back then. I don't know
Well-
when this article was written.
Well, isn't Brontosaurus that one that is actually an amalgam of, like, 5 different dinosaurs?
I think so.
Yeah, it's either the It's one of the
Maybe.
long neck ones, but I can't remember if it's the Brontosaurus. Anyway,
Yeah, they just, like, put a whole bunch of bones together and were like, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
No, a Brontosaurus is real.
What's the one then? I can't...
I'll look it up.
Please do. It
I
maybe
know,
starts with
I know
a
there
P.
is
Big.
one.
Maybe it starts with a
Long
P.
neck
I don't remember.
dinosaur.
So, just moving on.
Oh,
with,
it says Brontosaurus. What?
was it Brachiosaurus?
Oh, maybe
Wait
the
a minute.
Brachiosaurus.
Brontosaurus. Wait a minute.
I don't know. They've changed the names of dinosaurs since I was a dinosaur kid, and now I can't keep up, so...
Yeah.
Listen, back in our day, Pluto was a planet, so...
We're actually going to
Right.
talk about planets later, too.
Oh my god.
We're covering everything. Okay. So, just finishing up with this little half tangent here. They also use a bunch of other, like, blatantly incorrect things as evidence of these claims, such as an incorrect method of dating systems for fossils and the claim that known fake tablets are in fact real. So just generally, there's no actual evidence for any of these claims. Duh. So yeah, it's just... Yeah, and, like, we kind of get into the creationist stuff a little bit more later, just because a lot of people compare the methodology of ancient astronaut theorists to creationists, because it is actually pretty similar, which is really interesting. So,
I don't know. As someone who was raised in the church and, like, believes in a god of some sort, like, I can prescribe to a lot of different things. sight unseen, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But like their argument for this whole like alien thing, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Like, and like my journey with Christianity is very like up and down, but like, what? I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't know. So, yeah. Okay, so we're done with that section. So now we're going to move on. What?
Can I read you a quick quote that I found on Wikipedia? So it seems like Brontosaurus... I didn't even wait for your answer, but I'm going to do it anyway. It seems like Brontosaurus was not real for a minute, but now it's real again.
Oh, okay.
But someone said, who is this? Paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould not only supported this position of, like, bring it back, indeed, but cheered and advanced it enough to not only name it an essay, but even an entire book, blah, 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 stating, touche and right on, no one ever bitched about pterodon, and that's the real error.
Oh my goodness.
All right, good to know. Yeah,
Someone
last I had
maybe
heard,
there were, like,
someone was real salty about that.
Yeah, fucking Stephen Jay Gould was like, fuck you.
Interesting. Yeah, last I'd heard, brontosauruses were not real. So, interesting. See, this is the thing with science. Shit changes, you know? Like,
we get more information. Like,
Yeah.
science is still fairly new, friends.
yeah.
It says that it's also called, or it was, Apatosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the same thing. And
Apatosaurus.
the reason everyone was freaking the fuck out was because on a stamp, there were Tyrannosaurus, Stegosaurus, Pterodon, and Brontosaurus, and by using the term Brontosaurus, people were like, that's fostering scientific illiteracy. And then, I don't know, but it's still a dinosaur, so everyone can shut the fuck up, it's real.
Okay, well, hey.
Not you.
No. Yeah.
Wait, so Littlefoot was a Brontosaurus?
I believe so, yes.
I don't know.
I haven't seen that in forever, dude. I think so.
I don't know anymore. Anyway.
Okay, let's move on to the proponents. So,
Anyone have a, like, 8-year-old cousin who's a dinosaur kid? Just let us know what's going on in the dinosaur world. Thanks.
yeah. Okay, so if we
Yes,
can go
he
to...
was an
oh my God.
Apatosaurus. Sorry, I looked it up.
Go to slide
right.
8.
Slide 8, here we go.
Okay, this is Eric von Daniken. So, basically all of this information I'm about to read you came from Wikipedia. And I'm going into way more detail than I need to just because he's a fascinating human, and not in a good way. So, he's a Swiss author born in 1935. He attended... This is just for us. He attended the Swiss equivalent of elementary school in Freiburg, Switzerland, which is the Swiss-German version of Freiburg.
What?
Yeah.
Twinsies.
Oh my god. How does everything we talk about somehow relate
don't
back
know.
to, like, Freiburg or St. Louis?
I don't know.
What
I
does this
don't
guy
understand.
look like?
What do you mean?
I mean,
William
what does he look
Shatner.
like? He does look like William Shatner.
Oh, I thought you said, what does he look like? And I was like, dude, I put a picture up. I don't know how else to help you. I was so
Is it like a human man or a gas station? I can't really decide. He does look like William Shatner.
He
but
does.
Like,
He does.
But,
look
like, the
William
old
Shatner.
version.
no, but like the really German version. You're right. The very
Yeah.
Swiss.
Yeah. Oh, God, I was so confused. I thought you said what? I was like, dude, it's right there. Oh, I was so
Blind.
confused.
I'm just generally confused. Not that those have anything to do with each other.
No.
It's fine.
Okay, so, yeah, he lived in Egypt for a while as a young adult. I don't know why, but he did. And it was there that he first, like, wrote about the ancient astronauts theory, but he wrote about it for, like, he first wrote about it. I don't think he had anything published in Egypt. So, while in Egypt, he was involved in a bad jewelry deal, and this resulted in a 9-month conviction for fraud and embezzlement upon his return to Switzerland.
Ooh.
So that happened.
That's wait. Was he like trading gems in a back alley like an Aladdin movie? Because that's really what it seems like he did.
It just said bad jewelry deal. I don't know if he was like, I'm assuming because it was fraud. Like, the fraud makes me think he was passing off fake gems as real ones, but then I don't know where the embezzlement would come in, so I have no idea how any of that happened.
Then stealing money from his fake gem business.
I guess. I don't know. So yeah, when he got back to Switzerland, he then was hired to manage a hotel, which I would not hire someone who was convicted for fraud and embezzlement to manage my hotel.
If it wasn't a Swiss chalet, like, in the mountains, then I don't believe this story.
No, there's actually... He did do this, I promise. And we're going to get into how I know that for sure in a little bit. So, he wrote what became his best-selling book, Chariots of the Gods, while working on the night shift. So this book is what brought the ancient astronauts theory into popular culture. It was a massive bestseller, which nobody really expected. Fun fact, that's not really fun. A bunch of publishers turned him down, and the one who finally did publish it only did so after it was completely reworked by a professional author named Utz Utterman, who was a Nazi.
I was gonna say, that man definitely has some jackboots in his closet.
Yes.
What is this man's name again? Not Oots, not Mr. Cracker or whatever.
Eric von Daniken, and the A in Daniken has an umlaut, but I don't even want to try to do that.
Von Dan.
It's Danike.
I just want to look at his hotel business. I'm really interested in that.
So, yeah, his book was published in 1968, and as I said, it became a bestseller, and this is how I know he did work in a hotel. That same year, the same year as his best-selling book was published, von Daniken was arrested for fraud after falsifying hotel records and credit references in order to take out loans over a period of about 12 years.
Nice!
He was convicted in 1970 and served 1 year in prison, during which he wrote his second book, Gods from Outer Space.
Wait. Are these books still in print?
I don't know. Let me look.
'Cause
I'm sure you can get them from, like,
I wonder if, like,
you can get them from, like, a thrift store. They have it on Amazon.
Heck yeah.
It's a 1984 version, so I'm sure it is edited a little bit.
That's okay.
You can still buy it.
I got a gift card.
I wouldn't give this guy money, though. I'd buy it secondhand. That way he isn't getting any of the money. You don't want to give him your money. No, he's still alive. He's just a terrible person. You don't want to give him your money.
No, I don't. Okay.
So, von Daniken generally claims throughout his books, and the rest of this is a quote from Wikipedia, that extraterrestrials or ancient astronauts visited Earth and influenced early human culture. Von Daniken writes about his belief that structures such as the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, and is it Maui of Easter Island? Those heads? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's Moai. Is that Maui? I meant to look it up and I forgot. Anyway, the Easter Island heads. The Easter Island heads. It would be
Maui.
Okay. And certain artifacts.
Or Moai.
Yeah.
Moai?
I don't know. The Easter Island heads. Those things.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And certain artifacts from that period are products of higher technological knowledge than is presumed to have existed at the times they were manufactured. He also describes ancient artwork throughout the world as containing depiction of astronauts, air and space vehicles, extraterrestrials, and complex technology. Von Daniken explains the origins of religions as reactions to contact with an alien race and offers interpretations of sections of the Old Testament of the Bible. So, there's that.
Oh my gosh, sorry. You know who this guy looks like?
Who does he look like?
If you took all three dads from the Mamma Mia movie and morphed them into one.
Yes. Oh
You're right.
God. Yes.
Yes. Literally just took all three of them and made one face. That's it.
Yes.
This hotel he managed, I did find it. It's the Rosenhügel in Davos.
Yes.
The Hotel Rosenhügel. It's not a Swiss chalet. However, the views are gorgeous.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anyway. But yes, he does look like all three dads from
Yes, he does.
that thing.
Mamma Mia.
Sorry, I'm sitting here like listening and just staring at this picture. And I was like, oh my God.
Can't wait for
It's
y'all
literally
to see the
like
next guy.
top, middle, bottom face.
Yes.
And it's like all of them.
Yes.
See each one.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Can't
Carl,
unsee it.
yeah. Carl Sagan later said that, quote, writing as careless as Von Daniken's, whose principal thesis is that our ancestors were dummies, should be so popular as a sober commentary on the credulousness and despair of our times. I also hope for the continuing popularity of books like Chariots of the Gods in high school and college logic courses as object lessons in sloppy thinking. I know of no recent
Yes.
books so riddled with logical and factual errors as the works of Von Daniken.
Nice.
And that's Carl Sagan.
Someone
That is
Did not.
some...
He was real mad.
yeah.
So then the last little chunk on him, and then we're going to move on to a different guy. In response to criticism, quote, speaking in a 2001 documentary, Von Daniken said that although he could not conclusively prove to the scientific community that any of the items in his archive were of alien origin, he felt that today's science would not accept such evidence as the time is simply not right. He argued that it was first necessary to, quote, prepare mankind for a, quote, wonderful new world.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, this guy's also a consulting producer on Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, he
They
has an
don't
IMDb
like
page, and I
that.
wasn't gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're done with that guy. So if you want to go to slide
Goodbye.
9.
Colonel Sanders.
Yep! Yeah,
AKA the Kentucky Fried Chicken dude,
yes.
for those who don't know.
Yeah. So this is Zechariah Sitchin, which I am going to accidentally say Stitchin. It is I'm not doing it on purpose. I just say Stitch more than Sitch. I'm gonna do it on accident, and I'm so
you're a
sorry.
cross stitcher.
Just because Stitch is more
See what I
common
did
than
there?
Sitch. Yes, I did.
Okay, you didn't laugh or acknowledge it.
So,
Sitchin.
Sitchin. He was born in
Sitchin.
Soviet Azerbaijan, which I think that's how you pronounce it, in
It is.
1920. I Googled it because I was like, how the fuck do you say this?
I know a family who is moving there this summer
Oh, well, this dude's from there.
for the
To
military.
Soviet Azerbaijan. Wow, that's fun.
It's not.
The fun was in quotation marks. You just couldn't see it.
I'm not even sure it's fun now,
Yeah.
but back then.
Regular Azerbaijan. No offense to any listeners from
We don't have any
Soviet
listeners in
or other
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
We don't have any listeners in Azerbaijan. So he was born.
Soviet or otherwise.
Yeah. So he was born in Soviet Azerbaijan in 1920, and he died in New York City in 2010. So, again, I went into a tiny bit more detail than I needed to just to give you more context to, like, who he is as a human. So, he was raised in an area called Mandatory Palestine. So this was a geopolitical area controlled by the UK. I forgot to put down the years, up until basically they created Israel. So it started like late 1900s, went through the 40s. I think that this geographical area is now divided between Israel, Egypt, and Jordan. The history of that area is super complicated, so we're not going to get into that. I just
I
wanted
was
to
gonna
mention
say-
it for
Literally
context.
still on fire.
Yes, we're not going to talk
The
about
history of that area would take like 10 years for
Like,
us to get through.
I could
and it's
not-
so complicated and it's so hard to find like accurate records of certain events, and it's
that. Like, even...
it's not something you want to get into.
Yeah, even the Wikipedia page on Mandatory Palestine made no fucking sense.
Yeah,
Again, I
no.
just brought it up for context.
Yeah,
If
that
you
whole
wanna read a
area
very
is
interesting-
real complicated.
If you want to read a really good book, read Palestine by Joe Sacco.
Okay.
That's it. That's his name.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
don't know. I can't remember. I hope that's it.
I don't know.
It's good. It's a graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's
nice.
real.
Okay, so, Sitchin, he had
Yes.
an economics degree. So he did have a degree, just not in anything related to what he actually wrote about. He had an
Not
economics
on
degree.
aliens.
No, from the University of London, and taught himself Sumerian cuneiform. And this,
Okay, that's actually kind of impressive.
It's not. He fucked it up.
Okay.
So...
Never mind.
Yeah, so this part's extra batshit, so just stick with me. So,
Oh, God.
Sitchin claimed that based upon his reading of different Sumerian writings, the Sumerians knew about an extra planet beyond Pluto, or maybe Neptune. I saw differing explanations of where it was. This planet was called Nibiru. So this was outlined in his 1976 book, The 12th Planet, as well as sequels. You will notice we do not have 11 planets. There were extra other planets that he also believed had once existed. So, according...
How can you just make up a whole planet?
He made up several planets. Yeah. So, according to Sitchin, Nibiru collided with Tiamat. So this planet collided with this thing called Tiamat. So Tiamat is a goddess in the Babylonian creation myth, but he thought that Tiamat was yet another lost planet. So he thought...
Wow, we got lots of just, like,
I told you it was bad
planet
shit.
debris.
I told you it was bad shit. So...
Oh my god.
And this, he says, this is all based on writings from the ancient Sumerians, right? So according to Sitchin, what he learned in these writings is that Nibiru collided with Tiamat, and that this collision formed Earth, the asteroid belt, and the comets. That was like the main... He believed other nonsense.
That's some interesting science there.
Yeah! No.
Okay.
That's not what happened. So the issues with this are, one, obviously this is batshit, and two, as I kind of hinted a little bit ago, he mistranslated a bunch of shit. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so an American biblical scholar named Michael Heiser and others have pointed out gross inaccuracies in Sitchin's writings, which I'm going to get into this a little bit later. Michael Heiser fucking hates this guy. Even now that he is dead, he hates Sitchin. Because they actually had, like, a personal thing. Like, they would, like, they actually, like, fought with each other. Not physically, but you know what I mean?
Oh.
And so...
Don't ruin it. Just make it mysterious. Like, maybe they met in the woods once with knives.
I mean, they may have. It wouldn't surprise me.
They were, like, out in the parking lot, and they were like, let's do this.
Based on
Denny's
how...
parking lot at 3 a.m.
Hold my glasses.
Obviously, everything I know about Heiser is from the internet. It would not surprise me. He would have accepted a duel. Like, this is how much he hates this man.
Hell yeah.
Do it.
So...
My kind of guy.
Yeah. So one of the things, this is just an example of something where he mistranslated or misunderstood, because there's also, I mean, there's writing. You also have to take into account the culture in which that thing was written, and he often did not do that. So that's also part of the problem.
I'm sorry, you said the word duel once, and now I have the 10 duel commandments from Hamilton stuck in my head, and that's all I'm hearing.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. This is how my brain works.
No, I understand.
I'm just in my head going, the 10 duel commandments.
So, I need to do a tiny bit more explaining here. Part of the whole Nibiru thing is that there were things called, is it Nephilim? I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce
Nephilim.
it. Nephilim, thank you. So, these exist
Like
in
Heffalump.
the...
Don't know this before.
So these exist
Heffalump.
in
I'm
the...
Heffalump.
These exist in the Hebrew Bible and are considered to be giants and or fallen angels, depending on the interpretation, right? And they're mostly referred to in the book of Genesis. So Sitchin thought that... He said Nephilim? I already forgot.
Nephilim.
Sorry.
Heffalump.
God.
Think of a heffalump.
Okay. Sitchin thought that these beings lived on Nibiru. I'm just going to ignore the word because I can't remember how to say it.
Nephilim.
Yes.
Nephilim.
He thought that they
We're
lived...
on Nibiru.
Yes.
Just call them heffalumps.
Okay, I'll do that.
Honestly, please.
So, there is a critic named C. Leroy Ellenberger who pointed out that Sitchin states that from an equal start, the Heffalumps evolved on Nibiru 45 million years ahead of comparable development on Earth with its decidedly more favorable environment. Such an outcome...
What?
Okay, well, because he's saying that, like... Because remember, he's saying that Nibiru collided with Tiamat and created Earth. But according to this theory, that would have happened 45 million years. Like, these beings would have evolved 45 million years ahead of development on Earth, which scientifically does not make sense.
No.
Yeah.
Also, like, you have absolutely nothing to back this up.
No, he does not, other than his mistranslated
Like, at least
text.
the Bible has some stuff that's, like, we can trace it back.
Yeah.
But, like, this, you're literally just, like, making up names, making up beings, and you're just like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah. We're going to dig into this tiny bit, not a tiny bit more, a lot more, because this whole thing is hysterical to me. So, such an outcome that these beings would evolve, that any life would evolve before life evolved on Earth within our own solar system is unlikely, to say the least, according to this person. Since Nibiru would spend over 99% of its time beyond Pluto. They get no sunlight out. I mean, they do, but, like, not enough to sustain life.
And there's supposed to be giant heffalumps up there?
Yeah, like, that doesn't make any sense. So,
did they have a different sun? Like,
no, he has an explanation. So, Sitchin's explanation that heat from radioactive decay and a thick atmosphere keep Nibiru warm is absurd. It does not address the problem of darkness in deep space. Also unexplained is how the heffalumps...
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also unexplained is how the heffalumps, who evolved long after Nibiru arrived, know what happened when Nibiru first entered the solar system. So, like, we don't know, like, truly, we don't know how our planet, like, was created. You know what I mean? Like, we have theories.
It's a Big Bang theory.
We don't have a definitive answer, right?
Right, like, everything is a theory.
But according to what Sitchin is saying, the heffalumps knew exactly what happened, even though, like, to create Nibiru, even though they evolved a long time after the planet was formed. So that doesn't make any sense either.
I just want you to know that I have stress plucked most of my eyebrows.
We're about halfway done, so there's not too...
Wait, have we even gotten to the part where I can talk about racist?
No, we're not getting there for a while.
Jeez Louise!
I know, I'm sorry. So, I mean, so this quote that I got is from that critic, C. Leroy Ellenberger. He also explains, like, a bunch of other sciencey stuff about how this theory is bullshit, but it was getting into, like, physics and astro and, like, just, like, all this stuff that I don't understand. So I just said, there's a bunch of other sciencey stuff that explains why this is bullshit. So,
That's how I do all my research.
Yeah, so,
Science.
Yeah. I kind of already explained this a little bit ago, but Sitchin was also criticized for ignoring the world outside of Mesopotamia, which is, like, where the Sumerians lived broadly, and for misunderstanding Babylonian culture. And both he and von Daniken have been criticized for taking things written in ancient texts too literally. And then, as I there's a website called SitchinIsWrong.com.
Oh my god, I didn't bring this up earlier.
It was created by that guy, Michael Heiser, who I mentioned earlier. And as I said, they had some personal beef between them. He has an open letter to Sitchin on this where he explains point by point why Sitchin is wrong. It is glorious. So, Heiser was also involved in a 3-hour documentary called Ancient Aliens Debunked. So I did not have time to watch this entire thing. But it's on YouTube. It's totally free.
I'm gonna do it.
The website for it includes transcripts for each thing that they debunked. And they debunked like 15 different things. Like, it's very, very thorough. So that's that guy.
I love it.
Yeah, so he is one of the other, like, big proponents of this theory. There were a couple others who I could have gotten into, but they weren't as big as Sitchin and von Daniken. So, the last proponent we are going to discuss, if you can go to slide 10, Giorgio Tsoukalos, or the hair guy from Ancient Aliens.
Oh my god.
The aliens.
Look at his forehead. Why is your forehead so big?
Because his hair
It's
is...
a 5-head.
Why does your hair defy gravity? You look like an anime character. Like, your head is as big as that skull that you're holding.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, is it like this was my son and I ate him, or what?
God, I can't.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man's got a 5-head, and also it looks like he, like, slept with a headband in.
Yep.
So that it would be puffy on purpose.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Also, his face is just so smug all the time.
I know.
And he's like, I know the truth, and all of you peons are just...
Mm-hmm.
How many cultures is he appropriating in that shirt?
And that necklace.
Yeah.
I know.
And that skull. Like, why is he holding that skull? Like...
I don't know. He looks like a dude, bro.
He kind of was, actually. So, just some background on Giorgio here. He was born in Hang on, sorry.
Greece?
No, he was born in Switzerland in 1978.
What? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Bro, you are the furthest thing from Swiss I've ever seen, but okay.
Okay. And so he graduated from... I didn't expect that to be that mind-blowing.
Handle this. I have no more eyebrow to pluck out.
So
Well,
I
then
plucked out arm hairs. That's what I've been
there
doing.
you go.
we can be eyebrowless together.
Oh, God. Okay.
Look, mine's been gone since the beginning of quarantine, so... Every time it grows back in, I get stressed again, and then I'm just like, all right, no eyebrows for Shelby. It's just how I live my life.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
You're fine. Okay, so Giorgio, he was born in Switzerland in 1978. I'm assuming he has Greek parents who happened to either immigrate or were just in Switzerland when he was born. I'm assuming is what happened, but I don't know for sure. So he graduated from Ithaca College in New York with a bachelor's degree in communications. He worked as a bodybuilding promoter and a volunteer in sanctioned bodybuilding contests. I have no idea how he came to be on this show. I could not find an answer.
Does this dude, is he just like secretly part of like the Jersey Shore cast and like
Maybe? I don't know.
I
smoked one too many blunts and now he's like aliens?
He actually believed in this theory since he was like 14 because he read Von Daniken's book. So,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Never
Oh my
stick with
God.
something you believe when you're 14.
No.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 14, I thought I was half cat, but like,
Yes, you did.
no, I didn't actually, but
I know.
I just
you like to
wanted
present to the world that you did.
Yeah, because the kids in Freeburg were annoying, and I was like, well, then I'm just gonna be obnoxious. So
Where the fuck did I live when I was 14? Florida.
Oh, God.
What did I believe in Florida? Oh, you know how there's like the kid who's obsessed with Egypt and Egyptology?
Yeah, that was me.
Yep.
That was my Greek myth phase.
Yeah.
let's see.
And
When I
Phantom
was
of the Opera.
14,
It was like a weird overlap.
no, I don't think besides the whole like cat thing, which admittedly was very weird, and
Yeah.
I don't actually like to admit that part of my life. But I mean, it happened. I'm not ashamed of it. I am, but it's fine. But like, other than that, I don't think I had a phase at that point. I don't remember. Shannon, do you remember my life?
So when you were 14...
That was also like my Twilight phase.
Yeah. That was 8th grade, right? You were
That
14
was
and
every
Yeah.
Twilight
Okay.
phase.
Yeah, we were in a Twilight phase. That was when I never went to school. So, I can't really help you.
That's right. That was what the year I like never was in class because I was
Yeah.
either in the office or like doing something else, and yet somehow I still had like the highest. I don't understand.
No, I just didn't go to school.
Yeah, you weren't at school because you weren't sleeping and you were like addicted to Benadryl.
Well, and I was bored. I was also bored. And so I was like, Mom, like, I'm not going to school anymore. And she didn't feel like fighting me because I was getting A's. So she's like, all right, stay home. Whatever. Just don't fail anything.
Well, and like I was at school, but I was like never in class because that was the year like our one teacher's son got in a really bad motorcycle accident. So she was never there. So we just had like subs every single day for a whole year.
Yeah.
And then like two other of our teachers for some reason just like weren't there. So I was like, I'm not going to class. And so I like just helped out in the office all day. I don't know why.
Yeah, I stayed home.
They
and
let
played
me
Sims
do
all
that.
day.
I don't know why they let me do
I
that.
don't know. I can tell you, when I was 14,
It doesn't matter.
because I'm like, what, 10 months younger than you, I was a freshman in high school when I was 14. I didn't
that's
believe in
right.
climate change. So yeah, seriously, don't believe what you did when you were 14.
Right? Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just want to say during the Twilight phase when everyone, because I've never read Twilight or seen any of the movies.
You're missing out, dude. They're fascinating.
As a cultural study, maybe one day, but not right now. But anyway, I was that kid who, when everyone else was reading that, I was reading shit like John Steinbeck, and I was like, I'm so mature.
Okay, but see, I did both. That makes me so
I was
much
gonna say,
worse.
I know,
me
but
and
I
Shannon
refuse.
me and Shannon were like obsessed with Twilight, and then the next week we had a competition to see who could finish Gone with the Wind first.
Yeah.
And then like the next it was like,
There are better books.
Oh no, that book is terrible.
That book is terrible.
Terrible. It's so bad for so many
I
reasons.
just remember I was reading.
I'm just saying
Pearl...
that shit. Sorry, go ahead.
Jake.
Hannah, you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I just remember I was reading The Pearl in algebra, and that's why I didn't learn math. And cause, have you guys ever read The Pearl?
I don't think so. Who wrote that?
Spoiler alert: the baby in it gets his head blown off.
Oh God!
By like a
Nope,
shotgun,
haven't read
and I was
that.
like, "Well, I'm traumatized."
Yeah, I for sure have not read that.
See, for some reason, because it was our English teacher, it was her son who got in the accident. And so, like, we didn't really have, like, a curriculum that year.
Yeah, we really did.
But
that's another reason why I didn't go to school.
Whoever our sub was in that class at one point, because they tried, like, multiple different, like, long-term subs, and none of them worked out because we had a horrible class and we made people quit.
Yep.
But,
I can see that. No offense. Not
one,
you guys, just like...
Yeah.
No, but, like, one of our subs was like, we're going to read A Child Called It. And
I remember that. I do remember that.
It was...
Oh,
Which,
my
if
God.
you don't know what that book is about, it is...
It's rough, dude.
It's a true story about child abuse, and it is
in the first
so
chapter,
difficult.
that kid is eating dirty diapers.
Yeah, and it is from the
like,
it's from the point of view of the abused child. Like it's
and
his memoir, basically.
Yeah, and it is so rough. And to
Yeah.
read that at like 13, 14 years old, like I still have nightmares from scenes from that book. Like,
luckily I don't remember any of it, but
yeah.
Yeah, I stopped reading it because it was so rough.
Yeah, we had to read
I
it.
literally had to leave class one day and go throw up because we were reading it in class. And I don't know why anyone approved that. I don't know why that was taught. That's just like the only thing I remember. So yeah, I would go from my stupid like Twilight and like my little like young adult romances to reading
that.
that. And so like that's 14 years old for you. Okay, so like
yeah.
14 years old should not determine your whole life.
The only other thing I want to talk about with Giorgio is that he apparently got really upset by all those memes, and he felt that he was being mocked. So we're going to look at a bunch of memes now.
Dude, you are being mocked, okay?
Yeah.
Like, because you say dumb stuff.
Yeah, so I have 3 slides of memes. They were like the most popular ones, I suppose. I mean, the I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens is like the biggest one, I think. Yeah, I like...
The next one.
I know.
Like, picture number 2.
His hair just
on
gets
slide
higher
12. He's kind
higher.
of cute. He
I know!
been okay.
Like, he could have been...
Then the fake tan happened.
And the
then
hair.
he
And the
brushed his
smug
hair.
look. All of it just went downhill from there.
Like, literally in that third picture on slide 12, he went to the same tanning salon as Trump.
He literally does.
Seriously.
Even his eyes have that weird, like, not
That
tan
weird white
thing.
hue.
Yeah.
And his lips
Yeah.
are puckered and everything.
Yeah. Oh, God. I didn't even notice that.
You're welcome.
Ugh. And then I liked the John F. Kennedy one.
What does the F stand for in John
Aliens.
F. Kennedy?
Aliens. He looks so high in these pictures.
I know. It's such... I mean, I'm sure it's just because they caught him at a bad time. And they paused
Right,
at a
like,
bad
you know
time.
they, like, screenshot that at the
Yeah.
perfect time,
God.
but still.
They pulled a surfer boy off of his surfboard, threw him in a brown suit, and said, "Go talk about aliens."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, aliens.
Yeah, so that's all I have for the proponents of it. There are way more. Those were just the 3, like, probably most well-known. Which, like, Giorgio isn't even, like, academically, if we... taking academically in the broadest context we can.
He read a book once.
Yeah, he isn't,
Probably.
like...
When he was 14, like, I can still tell you all the facts from Twilight, but that doesn't make me, like, an expert in anything.
No.
In science.
Yeah, so, like, he hasn't written on this that I'm aware of.
It doesn't mean I know everything about vampires and they exist and they built the pyramids.
Well, the vampires
like-
that Stephanie Meyer used were not accurate to any actual myth, so
Well,
that might be part
yes,
of it, too.
that, but also, like, but I'm just saying that, like, that's the equivalent of,
Yeah, that
like,
is.
he read this, like, batshit book and then is like, I'm an expert in aliens. Like, I read a batshit book, I'm not an expert in vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
I Bram Stoker book just fell off the shelf in rage.
Look, Dracula's better anyway.
I thought Dracula was really
Shannon
boring.
thinks it's boring.
It's so boring.
Okay, I know.
I'm sorry, I just
But
think
it
it's so
freaked
boring.
me out to the point where I could not finish it.
Yeah, I could, because I just thought it was boring.
Nice.
Fuck you. I get so scared by books because my brain is scarier than any horror
That's
movie.
fair.
Fair.
Totally fair.
I feel that.
Okay, so now we're done with proponents. We're going to move on to why people believe this. So if you go to slide 14.
Because they're crazy?
I mean, yes, but there are actual, like, there's actually been, like, research into why people believe things like this. It's fascinating to me. So,
I mean, yes, it is actually really interesting.
yeah. This is a picture from the Ancient Aliens Convention in 2018, which had, I think the article said 10,000 attendees on day one.
I hate that.
Uh-huh. So, that was just, I couldn't, like, I wanted to have a new slide, but, like, how do you have a slide for there's a distrust of academia and the government? So I just did this. So, which, that is reason number one, like, reason number one in this list. It is not, like, the number one reason why people believe this. It's an amalgam of reasons. But,
In no particular order.
yes, in no particular order, the first one I chose to list is there is a distrust of academia and the government, and then especially in conservative circles. Conservatives as a whole are very anti-academia.
It's like there's no modern example of this
No,
where
none.
let's just say for instance there was like a global pandemic or something, and
for example.
all of these conservative peoples would be like, wearing a mask. I feel like Dr. Fauci is trying to limit my rights as a gun owner, so I'm not gonna wear a mask.
Yeah.
Anyway, just like as an example. I mean, it's not really that plausible, Shannon. I don't know.
Just as it would never happen in real life. Just as an example. As a hypothetical, hyperbolic example. So.
Yeah, 100%. 100.
Really hurt my throat.
Yeah, I bet it did. That sounded like it did.
I was going to say, that was an interesting sound. When we're done here, remind me to tell you about the guy I saw in the airport, okay?
Yes, please. Okay.
So excited.
So,
This morning at the gas station, some guy walked in without a mask, and the lady at the thing was like, "Here you go, sweetie, but next time remember your mask." Like, you could hear the main pitchiness in her voice. I love you, Linda from Cumberland Farms. You're my best friend, but you just tell him what you feel, girl. Don't hold back.
okay.
That's all.
So, no, you're fine. So, expanding on.
Wait.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. What is it?
The best part was he was riding a scooter.
How did you forget that?
I don't know. I forgot.
Oh, I just remembered. So, when we recorded 2 days ago, I forgot to explain how my mom and I may have cursed champagne.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
I'm going to explain that
Tell me.
super quick. So, we got there on a Friday. That night, we were going to go to a barbecue place for dinner because they're, like, doing limited seating at a restaurant, and it's, like, we wanted to, damn it. So we did. And, we tried to. So there was a wait for tables, and it was kind of chilly, so we went and sat in the car, and we were facing away from the restaurant. This is important. So we were sitting in the car, and we could, like, watch our reservation, like, online, and it would say, like, there are 10 parties ahead of you, and whatever. And all of a sudden, literally 8 fire trucks, an ambulance, 2 police cars, and a bunch of other, like, fire department vehicles rolled up to the restaurant, and we were like, huh? What's going on? But we were kind of, like, ignoring it, too, because we couldn't really see. And then all of a sudden, Mom goes, oh, there's a lot of people, like, losing their reservation or something, because now we're, like, fourth in line. And I looked behind us, and the entire restaurant had been evacuated.
Oh, my
and we
goodness.
just hadn't noticed. And we found out later, one of their, like, the smokers for the meats, one of the smokers had caught fire. So there wasn't any damage to the restaurant. Nobody got hurt. But they had to evacuate and close down for the weekend. But we were just like, when the fuck does a restaurant catch fire? And then, so it was Friday. On Saturday, we were walking around the University of Illinois campus and, like, driving around Champaign. And so we were driving from where we went for breakfast, like, closer to campus. and I was in the passenger seat, and I saw this dude on the sidewalk absolutely eat it on a skateboard trying to get off the sidewalk. And I told my mom, because that's hysterical. And then we were walking through campus, and this girl was coming towards us. She also ate it on a skateboard. And I was like, what the heck is happening? And then literally 30 seconds later, some dude on a longboard passed us and then just fell off his skateboard.
It's because, like, around sophomore year, like, freshman year, you're too afraid to do anything. Sophomore year, you're like, I'm going to reinvent myself. The thing is, you've never ridden a skateboard in your life.
Apparently.
And so you go downhill, and you think you're looking really hot and cool. And then at the end, there's, like, a curb. So you eat it and take all the skin off of your teeth and mouth and lips and forehead. Anyway, I'm not saying I haven't seen it at any college campus, but that's just my theory.
So my thing is, I mean, I lived on a college campus for 3 years. I never saw 3 people eat it on a skateboard in one day. It was so funny. We checked on the last guy because he fell, like, literally right in front of us. He was fine. But, yeah, that happened. I don't think anything happened on Sunday, but we were just like, what the fuck is happening? Oh, God, it was so weird. Okay, sorry. I meant to say that the other day, and I forgot.
Because they haven't ridden their skateboards all winter.
I guess.
Now it's finally time, and they forgot how to.
Yeah, it was actually really nice out that weekend, so I'm sure that was part of it. It was so funny. Okay, so...
Anyway.
Going back to the actual topic. So, as I said, there's a distrust of academia and the government, and so expanding on that, this is from a New York Times article, which was about the Ancient Aliens Convention. So, quote, we now know that history has been taught, that the history that had been taught for years excluded the experiences of so many, such as African Americans, women, and the working poor. What else had been left out? Trust in the government and leaders who could set it all straight is historically low, which, like, that's fair, but I don't think the strategy of rejecting all science and academia is the solution to that problem.
They started off so strong.
Yeah. Like...
And then they ate shit on their skateboard.
Like,
on your Logic skateboard.
Yes. Which, like, again, I mean, like, this is not an incorrect statement. History has been taught incorrectly. I've ranted about it multiple times before on this show.
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing, too. They aren't trying to look at the things, at least, like, within the context of ancient alien people. They're not trying to look at things that we know have been disproven. They're trying to disprove things that are factually true because they don't trust other people now. So, like, they're not even solving that problem. They're just creating new ones.
What fucking idiots.
So, these next two are going to make you guys really mad because they made me really mad. So, this is continuing in the New York Times article. In the audience was Chris Bailey, a neatly dressed lawyer who had traveled from Arizona with his 2 adult sons. Just because someone says the Egyptians made the temples with ropes and wooden rollers doesn't make it true, Mr. Bailey said. We shouldn't accept blindly things we've been taught by quote-unquote scientists. This man's a lawyer!
What fucking scientist is teaching Egyptology? That's just my question.
I think they're lumping in archaeologists with scientists.
No, I know.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Continuing, I have one more, and then we can unpack this a little bit further if we wish.
I might throw up.
Earlier that morning, a woman had risen from the crowd and told the Ancient Aliens producers, I'm indoctrinating my children in your show so they'll ask questions and not believe everything they're told.
So you're starting a cult?
I just
Lady,
think that's not how you
could've
get the
picked-
kids to ask questions.
You could have picked any word. You could have teaching, showing, presenting.
I'm letting my children watch your show.
Yeah.
Like,
you cannot say
Watching
indoctrination.
my children.
Yeah, you can't.
So they're stupid.
You can't say indoctrination and have them ask questions in the same sentence. Like, you cannot do that.
That's not how indoctrination works.
No.
Oh my god.
So, continuing with this. Another reason why people believe this, and this is kind of under that umbrella of they don't trust scientists and the government and whatever. A lot of people think that scientists as a whole are hiding things from the general public, and that these alternative theories, such as ancient aliens, provide explanations for seemingly unexplainable events. Although if you look at the actual science, most of these things are fully explainable. So, I don't remember if I saw this quote in a TikTok or on Twitter or what, but somebody somewhere said, scientists are not hiding things from you. Have you ever met a scientist? They never shut up about whatever it is they're studying.
I was just about to say that. I was trying to word it nicely in my head, but yes.
And like,
oh my god.
I personally think that that could be broadly applied to any academic or even anybody who's researched anything ever.
God, I never fucking shut up about writing.
None of us ever fucking shut up.
Not once in my life.
None of us shut up about our topics. Ever.
I was going to say, Hannah and I get in a fight about language like
literally
every single
every
We're always
day.
on the same side.
Yeah, literally every week. Yeah. So, like, there's that. It's a problem. And then, like, Ancient Aliens, like, the show isn't really helping that whole theory because it's presented as a documentary and doesn't present opposing views. Like, it apparently... I'm just gonna be honest, I did not watch any of Ancient Aliens for this. I was going to, but then I only had an hour and a half to write my notes, so that did not happen. So, like, the show initially did present people with an opposing view to this theory, right? But, and I think it was only, like, the first season, because the producer said that since all they did was say there's no proof, he decided not to have them anymore. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And then now, I'm sure there are a lot more other reasons why people believe this. I'm sure some of it is arrogance. I'm sure some of it is just they think that they're special for believing in a conspiracy theory, because a lot of people seem to think that.
Oh my god, please don't fall for QAnon, anybody.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
But now, we're going to move on to why this theory is dumb and racist.
Racist!
So, first off, we're going to talk about why it's dumb. So, I split these things
Are we
up.
on this slide still?
We're on slide 15 now. We're about to switch. This is just some general archaeologist drawing. I needed something to put there. So,
A camel.
yeah. So,
A rhino.
so we kind of already have hinted at this if I didn't flat out state this. This is a very anti-intellectual theory. And we're going to unpack that a lot more. So what this theory actually is this thing called pseudo-archaeology. So, the definition of pseudo-archaeology, which I got from Wikipedia, it's interpretations of the past from outside the archaeological science community, which reject the accepted data gathering and analytical methods of the discipline. These pseudoscience...
So, like...
Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. What were you...
Sorry, no, go ahead.
These pseudoscientific interpretations involve the use of artifacts, sites, or materials to construct scientifically insubstantial theories to supplement the I can't say that first time. God, the pseudo-archaeologist's claims. Methods include exaggeration of evidence, dramatic or romanticized conclusions, use of fallacy, and fabrication of evidence. And I got that all from Wikipedia. Also, fun fact, Von Daniken's picture is right at the top of the Wikipedia page for pseudo-archaeology.
Nice.
And so...
What I was going to say is, I could just go to any... It doesn't even have to be a historical site. I can go to the fire pit in my backyard and say, this ancient fire pit was built by the first white settlers of Maine in 1631.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically what these people are doing. And so there are a few core characteristics of pseudo-archaeology specifically. These aren't, like, hard and fast rules. They're just things to look for, you know? So, although this first one is for sure there. Lack of a scientific method. That one's for sure there. Opposition to the archaeological establishment, which, like, I didn't realize the archaeologists had an establishment, but okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, they probably use the scientific method and, like, have a not governing body. That's like how the press has the AP to kind of hold them to a standard.
It was just like the way it was phrased was like, I'm gonna stick it to the establishment, and I'm like, but it's archaeologists. Like,
archaeologist man.
Yeah, and then some other things that may creep in there are nationalist motivations or religious motivations.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is just kind of a an example of this kind of process. So, this is from a Salon article. Quote, while archaeology takes shelter behind a scientific facade and uses some scientific tools, British journalist Graham Hancock says by telephone from his home in England, It really involves the interpretation of some limited evidence done in the normally limited human way. That was a lot of M's, God. Some archaeologists would generally agree with this. Hancock continues on, those who control knowledge about the past control a great deal. All of us are involved in a relationship with the past, and I think it's extremely unhealthy that a small group of like-minded specialists should be given a blank sheet to interpret it. So, like, on its face, like, I get where he's coming from, right? But, as Salon points out, quote, his claims about the past, like most of alternative archaeology, are generally unsupported by hard evidence. His view of mainstream archaeology as a closed-minded... Is it cabal? C-A-B-L? I always mispronounce it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I always say cable, and then that's wrong. So yeah, his view of mainstream archaeology as a closed-minded cabal of experts, which is also typical of the field, is overly simplistic. So basically, he doesn't understand archaeology, but he thinks that he does. And that's the problem.
Sometimes I like to think that I understand, like, science.
Yeah.
But I don't. I thought I knew how an RBMK reactor works, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can all think whatever we want, but you're not right.
Yeah. This next part is just, like, my own editorializing. So, like, you still need expertise in order to study things, and I personally think that's part of the problem with anti-intellectualism. So a lot of anti-intellectualists, and I'm going to generalize here because that's easier, come at me if you don't agree with me, but, like, you probably don't agree with me because you're an anti-intellectualist, and I'm not going to listen to you. So, a lot of anti-intellectualists think that they can just step into the role of historian or archaeologist or scientist or whatever, and that their findings are just as valid as someone who studies these things professionally. And that's not true.
That's like when all those stupid people who are like, I never went to college, but your degree.
Do you know how many old white men have told me that
I
exact
know.
statement? It pisses me the fuck off.
But your degree in history doesn't qualify you to be a historian.
And it's specifically because I got it from a college.
Yeah, it's like, I know more about history than you because I read a couple books in high school.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, we didn't have to read books in college, question mark?
Yeah, or like... And, like, that's kind of continuing with this. Like, there are correct and incorrect ways to study absolutely everything, right?
Yeah.
Sure,
And coming in with no training or knowledge is gonna make you study things incorrectly. So, like,
I've had people try and explain, like, how speech therapy works to me. People who have never been through it, like, never been... like received speech therapy, never been a speech therapist, and they're always like, oh, so you're gonna do blah blah, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Like, and then, like, I'll try and tell them, like, what it would be like, and they're just like, oh, well, I think, and I'm like, I don't care what you think, you don't know.
I didn't ask. And you don't know.
If I have one more fucking neckbeard guy try to tell me how he's writing a novel, a novelization of his D&D campaign, I'm literally going to stab my eyeball with this tweezer.
Look, I like D&D, but, like, no.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I totally
Stop.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
But your novelization of your campaign is not interesting.
You're not writing the
Sorry.
next Lord of the Rings, okay? You're just not. Stop.
Not.
The only time that has
Anyway.
ever worked was when they made a graphic novel of the first season of The Adventure Zone. Thank you, goodbye.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Shelby, quick speech therapy thing. Today I was in speech therapy with a kid, and the word he was supposed to be saying was fish, and he said with all confidence, bitch! I was like, never change!
That's funny.
Wow.
Oh, that's
There's
funny.
a lot to fix there. Okay.
So confident.
You know, he's so cute,
Yeah.
though. Who cares?
You know, honestly, live your best life. I don't care.
Yeah.
Go for it.
He knew what he meant.
But, like,
Exactly.
going back to this a little bit, like, I would never tell you guys how to do your own thing, and you guys would never tell me how to do history. That would
I was
never
gonna say,
happen.
Are you kidding?
Like,
I don't think
Yeah,
I've
like-
ever told you how to do history.
or
Like,
the law.
literally,
Like, you
anytime.
would never tell me how to do any of those
Imagine
things.
if I came in this shit and I was like, Shannon, actually, what you meant by Alfred Plea is...
Yeah.
When, in fact, I can't read.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, That would be like me going up to Shannon and being like, actually, Henry VIII only had one wife.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, just... I might cover him and his wives at some point, by the way. That would be interesting, I think.
Just in case no one knows,
Yes.
when we were 14, that was Shannon's thing, was
Yeah.
Henry VIII.
Yeah, I forgot about that part of my life. I mean, not really. It's still there. I can still name all of his wives, but...
I was gonna... Look, we were on the Scholar Bowl team together, and I was the Disney person, and she was the history person, and that's all you need to know about us.
I was really bad at Scholar Bowl because I'm not good at coming up with things, like, on the spot. The one bonus question I got right was all the names of Henry VIII's wives.
Yeah, the one I got right was, like, all the songs from, like, Disney movies.
Yeah.
And then I got so mad because everybody was so obsessed with Rent at, like, the musical in 8th grade. And we had our, like, regional competition. And I hadn't even seen it, but, like, everybody knew Seasons of Love, the song, at that point. And it was, like, a math question, and I wasn't on the... like, I was on the sideline at that point, and it was like, how many minutes are in a year? And it was like
925,600 minutes.
Yeah. But it was like, and you could cut their names if you want, but it was like, and like, I don't even know who else, but it was like 3 people, and they were the 3 who were the most obsessed with Rent. And they were the ones who made me listen to that song so many times, and none of them got it. And I was so mad. And I literally sat there and I was like, 525,600 minutes. Like, how do you not know this?
I remember just tacking off of questions that I knew the answer to. One of the questions was, which bird has the largest wingspan in North America? And I just kept pointing to myself and nobody got it. It was a fucking California condor.
Shannon?
I do remember that happening.
My mom almost killed someone during a showing of Rent.
Great. You need to unpack that further. You cannot just leave that there and walk away.
Not really. She didn't really almost kill someone. But her and her friend went to go see Rent, but before that they had gone to a Lebanese place, and they ate so much garlic that my mom, at intermission, apologized to the man sitting next to her. She's like, I am so sorry that we smell so bad.
Oh my gosh.
But they were seeing Rent.
There you go. I haven't seen Rent.
Nice.
I'm fine without it. Okay. What was the original point of that? Oh, yeah. I think something that some people learn when they go to school is that they don't know everything. Some people don't learn that. Some people think that they still know everything after going to school. You know? Like,
I could name 30 plus people.
I have a baseline knowledge of a lot of things. Yeah. But that does not mean that I know everything. It means that I have basic skills in a lot of different fields because I'm just that kind of person who likes to know that. Yeah. But that doesn't make me an expert in anything.
No, it does
like,
not.
Even speech pathology, I am nowhere near an expert in that. Like, it's just not what I went to school to.
Especially not the law.
So
I just wrote a letter to my advisor saying why I'm so bad at writing.
Right,
that was the whole letter. I was like, I hate myself. Everything is garbage. Sorry, I mean a piece of chocolate from France.
Some of this too might be gendered because I feel like a lot of women, even when they are experts, feel like they're not, and men always feel like they're experts even though they're not.
Yes.
Say that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the people, actually, I'm sure there are some women, but the main drivers of the ancient aliens theory are all white dudes.
Yep.
Surprise,
and
surprise.
A lot of anti-intellectualists, I think, also tend to be dudes who are white.
Yep.
You know, so I think that's part of it as well.
Or just like people, guys, there's a certain set of men who think that because they have a college degree, they know everything.
Oh God, I know.
Or even if they're just in school, they're just so confident in how right they are all the time. And I'm not saying it's every man. I'm saying it's a certain person. Yeah. And I know...
Yeah, it's definitely like a personality type. But
yes.
They're the type of person that, like, you can say something that you know 100% is true, and they have to be contrarian every single time. Yeah. And they have to be the smartest one in the room. And it's... Yeah. It is just a very specific type of person, but they are the worst.
Yes.
My mom just texted me, what the fuck, so I need to respond.
Okay. So as I said, you still need expertise in order to study. And then you also need evidence to back up your claims. So
That's how science works, friends.
that's how everything works. Like, like, you cannot have an argument with someone with no evidence on your side. You're gonna lose. That's not how this is gonna work.
Right.
Unless you're in denial, in which case there's no point in arguing with you. So I think that, like, obviously, I think we have all seen this whole thing where people think that they can blindly believe something that flies in the face of facts. And I feel like, I'm sure that it's always been a problem. It's just way more visible nowadays. And, like, yeah, you can believe whatever you want, but that doesn't make you correct. Because facts are correct whether or not you believe in them. And I think people sometimes get that mixed up with opinions.
Yep.
So, and facts are also founded on evidence. You cannot come into an academic space, or I mean really any space, but especially an academic space, start spouting off theories with no evidence and expect to be taken as seriously as someone presenting a theory that does have evidence.
I cannot tell you. Okay, wait, what the fuck? Okay, sorry, my mom is being really weird.
Okay.
I think she's been possessed by something.
I was gonna say drinking, so.
No.
That's my
She
mom.
doesn't really drink. What was I saying? Oh, the amount of times I've had students come in who are like, actually, I think that writing should be like this. And I'm like, okay.
Cool, you're
Hi.
still wrong.
You can come in with all of your own theories. However, I'm the teacher and I give out the grade. So, like, you can use fuck in your essay, but it's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a personal essay, sure, use it as much as you want. However, this is a researched argument, so maybe reconsider that when you're writing about plastic in the ocean. Just saying.
Yeah. So, just continuing on with this, like, anti-intellectualism thing. So, if we can go to slide 16, this is an actual archaeologist named Sarah Koenig. She's out of the University of Colorado at Boulder. She's published a bunch of stuff, but I could not get access to it. She does have a TEDx talk, and I found a transcript, so that's where I'm getting her information from. She said in this TEDx talk that, quote, pseudo-archaeology undoubtedly harms its subjects, often indigenous people like the Maya, which we'll go into that a little bit more later, but it also harms its viewers. It harms all of us, like other forms of racism, because again, it's really racist. It exacerbates inequality and prevents us from appreciating and benefiting from human diversity. What's really scary is that pseudo-archaeology is a small part of a much bigger problem. It's just one example of people getting history wrong on purpose, of people knowingly changing historical and archaeological facts. And so, just, again, continuing on with this, we're spending a lot of time in this section because it made me mad.
Yeah.
So this is not Sarah Koenig, this is somebody else. Quote, a lot of the ancient alien stuff relies on willful ignorance and temporal chauvinism, a disbelief that ancient people were capable of complex feats of engineering, anthropologist Kenneth Fetter said in that New York Times article about the Ancient Aliens Convention. So Mr. Fetter wasn't rooting against the ancient astronaut theorists finding hard proof. Quote, if there was a crashed UFO under the pyramids, I'd go, damn, that's awesome. But, he added, science is all about evidence. The bar has to be higher than Giorgio walking around going, how did they do that? The rocks are so heavy.
Oh my god. Triggered.
And then, as far back as...
George,
I know.
how did they do that? The rocks are so Oh my
I know. That guy had some pretty great quotes in that article. As far back as 1977, a joint BBC and PBS documentary discredited Mr. von Daniken's thesis with help from Carl Sagan, showing how it, quote, rests on inaccuracies, on unrelated facts, and false similarities. Confronted by the filmmakers, Mr. von Daniken admitted that a piece of evidence in Chariots, a photo purported to be a spaceship parking bay on the Nazca Plain in Peru, I just rolled my eyes so hard and y'all couldn't even see it, was...
Same.
Yeah. So he admitted that this evidence was ridiculous. As a writer, he said, sometimes he was simply stimulating the reader, and one is allowed to do this.
Yeah, when you're writing fucking fiction.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And so the actual, like, show Ancient Aliens is not any better. So this is a quote from an article I found on the All, which I think is, like, an opinion website, but it was still, like, very helpful in deconstructing why Ancient Aliens, the show, is terrible, since I didn't want to watch it. So this is a quote. But then Ancient Aliens turned up something interesting. That there are no scientific explanations for the right angles and worked stones of the two sunken city at Yonaguni, that the Dogon people of Mali had folklore about Sirius B, a star that is not visible to the naked eye, and that there's a clear contemporary account of an aerial attack on the army of Alexander the Great. Each time, maybe predictably, the show was just lying. It's not common that stones settle like they have at Yonaguni, but it's not that rare either. It's not really clear what the Dogon were talking about, and it's likely that Europeans misinterpreted something that they really wanted to hear. Some Italian dude either mistranslated a source or created the Alexander story out of whole cloth. After the fourth or fifth time this happened, I got tired of looking things up and began assuming that anything interesting on the show must be fake. Yeah. And as I kind of pointed out, this show is hosted, like all the experts, quote unquote, that they feature, they're all old white guys. For the most part. There's some outliers, but for the most part, it's all old white dudes.
I'm sorry, but the History Channel is specifically dedicated to old white men.
True.
Yes.
So, okay, this is the part. Do you want to guess the logical fallacy now?
The logical fallacy is burden of proof.
No.
It is.
No.
Okay, wait, let me think.
I mean, you're right. They are committing that fallacy by not bringing proof, but that's not what the actual line of thinking is rooted in.
Okay, wait. It could be a lot of things. It could be slippery slope. It
Nope.
could be post hoc ergo propter hoc.
Can I just go? Move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so the entire theory is grounded in a logical fallacy called argumentum ad ignorantium, or argument from ignorance, or an appeal to ignorance. So if you go to slide 17, this is the definition. So the illogical reasoning goes like this. If there's no satisfactory terrestrial explanation for, say, the Nazca Lines of Peru, the Easter Island statues, or the Egyptian pyramids, then the theory that they were built by aliens from outer space must be true. And that is from Scientific American. So this logical fallacy is, I'm just going to read off what I put on that slide. This logical fallacy occurs when someone claims that a conclusion must be true if it hasn't been proven false, or false if it hasn't been proven true. And the example it gave in this graphic that I found...
Yeah, but you can't prove yours is true either.
That doesn't matter.
That's very similar to burden
It
of
is.
proof.
It is.
It is.
So the example on this graphic, just to zoom it out so you don't have to use this as an example, you can't prove that you are innocent, therefore you are guilty. It's basically saying, I don't know the answer. We cannot prove one way or another, so I'm just going to go with what I think.
But that doesn't make it fact.
That's why it's a fallacy.
I know, but
Yes.
it makes me angry.
Yes. And so in that Scientific American quote, they said if there is no satisfactory terrestrial explanation. And I think that there should be an emphasis on satisfactory here, because there are explanations for all of these things. But because people don't believe that our ancient ancestors could have achieved them, or they just don't think that the answer is astounding enough, they point to alternative explanations like aliens.
Yeah, because brown people can't do anything,
Yep.
according to...
Yeah, we're about to get there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I've been sitting on
I know,
this HP
we're
Lovecraft
almost
fact
there.
for a long
I have
time.
one last thing on the anti-intellectualism thing, and then we're done. So, this is from that Scientific American article. Ancient alien arguments from ignorance resemble intelligent design, quote, God of the gaps arguments. Wherever a gap in scientific knowledge exists, there is evidence of divine design. In this way, ancient aliens serve as a small g gods of the archaeological gaps, with the same shortcoming as gods of the evolutionary gaps. The holes are already filled, or soon will be, and then whence goes your theory? So basically, like, within a lot of, within intelligent design, if we do not have a scientific explanation for it, it must have been God, right? This is the same thing, except instead of God, it's aliens. And then, as I kind of said earlier, there's actually a lot of overlap between ancient aliens and creationism. So this is from that Salon article. if you examine the methodologies of pseudo-archaeology and creationism, the way they construct their arguments, you'll find that they're almost identical, says Garrett Fagan, a professor of classics and ancient Mediterranean studies at Penn State, who has devoted much of his career to battling alternative archaeology. These are essentially not intellectual arguments. They are political arguments. It looks like science, but it's not. They blame science and evolution for any number of social ills, and they regard undermining and destroying science as a primary goal, which I agree with.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I think it is so dangerous to believe in, like, one thing. I don't know, to not have science be a basis for your beliefs.
Yeah.
Like, you can believe in God, go for it, do whatever you want, but you should also believe in science, because, like, science is real.
Yeah.
And you don't know if God is real.
Yeah.
TBH. So,
Yeah.
goodbye. That's all.
Yeah.
I do remember, this is only tangentially related, but I took Bio 1 my freshman year of high school, and we were discussing evolution, and the teacher, what did he say? At one point in the evolutionary process, he says, I think this is where God stepped in. And I'm like, you're not supposed to say that, but okay.
Yeah, that's...
We had a whole fight across our country for that,
Yes,
friend.
we did. No, we talked about that in that class.
The monkey trials?
Yes, which I also might cover at some point.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that.
No,
but
you're
okay.
not. But I was a freshman and didn't care as much. So, we are now going into the racism aspect of this theory, which to me is a much bigger issue than the anti-intellectualism, but they're both bad. So I'm actually starting off with H.P. Lovecraft. So Hannah, what did he name his cat?
His cat was a black cat, and its name was N-word man.
Oh yeah, I did know that. Oh my god.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Also, I would just like to say this for, yeah, okay, wait, let's sit on that for a minute. Yes, his black cat was named N-word man.
Yeah.
He was incredibly racist.
Yeah. That's literally my
That's not
sentence.
okay.
My lead into this is, remember earlier when I said Lovecraft may have been an inspiration for this theory? He was also incredibly racist.
Yeah, wasn't he really into eugenics?
I mean, everybody in the 20s was, so probably.
I know. Oh my god.
But, like,
I
there's-
got in a fight with my uncle recently about eugenics.
There's eugenics, and then there's racism. You know, because, like, even
Yes.
people during H.P. Lovecraft's...
You can be both.
You can be both. But even people who were, like,
Nazis.
contemporaries with H.P. Lovecraft commented on how fucking racist he was. So he was racist for the time period in which he lived,
For the fucking 20s.
which is saying something.
Oh my god. Really quick, just to jump back to evolution
Yes.
and creationism. In the 1950s, Pope Pius XII confirmed that there's no intrinsic conflict between Christianity and the theory of evolution.
Uh-huh.
So all of you Christians, well, because you guys hate the Pope anyway, you Protestants, but
Not all of us. Thank you very much.
okay, sorry, yes, that was a big statement. Shelby and all
Not
the
all
Lutherans, who I know are
Protestants.
Being
sympathetic
awful
to us.
Lutherans.
Catholic lights out there, you know who you are. Anyway,
Yeah.
he said that just it's all the same thing. Everyone calm down about it.
Yeah.
Science is real.
Yeah.
It is. I
Pope
fully
Pius
support
XII.
that.
Good times.
So,
Fun fact, you can have both.
yeah.
It's okay.
You can have both. I
Yeah.
wrote a paper about it in Catholic school. Got an A.
So, with H.P. Lovecraft, whether or not he actually influenced this theory, because again, that whole thing came from one book and I didn't see anything, whatever. His racism seems to have bled over because the theory is horribly racist and dismissive, but I want to be clear, I am not blaming H.P. Lovecraft for this theory being racist. It's racist on its own.
Yeah,
So,
he just also happened to be a racist person.
yeah, and if it did come from him,
Generally.
it would kind of make sense because and like in a lot of his writings too, he wrote about like non-white cultures being inferior, right? And that is a core theory within the Ancient Aliens thing, whether or not people want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
So if we can go to slide 18, so this is the Roman Colosseum and the Parthenon, which is in Athens, right?
I
so.
believe
Okay.
so.
So, Sarah Koenig, who I mentioned a little bit ago, notes in her TEDx talk that, quote, what you rarely...
It's in Rome.
Wait, the Parthenon's in Rome?
No,
Wait,
the
Parthenon.
Colosseum's in Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, wait, I could have sworn the Parthenon was Greek. You just made me, like... Okay.
I think it's because you
Yeah,
said the
no.
Colosseum.
And then I said, okay,
Yes.
I think you just misheard
Okay,
me.
I might have
Yes.
missed the
I said
Parthenon
that-
I was really
part where you
confused.
I
that.
said the Roman Colosseum and the Parthenon, which is in Athens?
Gotcha.
Okay.
You cut out.
Okay.
You cut out for Roman on my end, and I was like, that's not Greek.
Okay.
Yeah. And I somehow missed the Parthenon part.
Okay.
So.
Dual-pronged
Anyway.
issue here. All right, that's okay. So, Sarah Koenig notes in her TEDx talk that, quote, what you rarely hear is pseudo-archaeologists claiming that, say, Romans had helped building the Colosseum or that Greeks had helped building the Parthenon. Why is that?
Those are heavy fucking rocks.
Yeah. For pseudo-archaeologists, Europeans could have accomplished their feats on their own, but non-Europeans must have had outside guidance. Claims like these are not just outrageous, they are offensive here. And in so many other instances, pseudo-archaeology sustains myths of white supremacy, disparages non-Europeans, and discredits their ancestors' achievements. So, the only major, like, white European things I could think of are Stonehenge, and some people think that the Tuahaji Danann were aliens. Like, that's the only thing that, I mean, obviously I didn't, like, do a deep dive research into, like, the actual, like, examples, but
yeah, there are people who think that, like, the Fae are
yeah, they're aliens.
Did you know that there's a type of alien called the tall white?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, just that's a fun fact.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
I hate aliens. I'm so upset
Yeah.
right now.
and just to, like, I don't know, prove this point, that archaeologist I mentioned earlier, Fetter, he did an analysis and found that only 4% of the examples in von Daniken's first book came from Europe. 4% of all of his examples were from Europe. Every other thing was from a not white culture. And that came from mental floss.
Barf,
I'm sorry,
barf, barf,
aliens
barf,
did
barf, barf.
not build the Great Wall of China.
They didn't build fucking anything. But yes, you're right. So, continuing on with this. So this is from...
They did not build the Cahokia Mounds, okay?
We're actually going to talk about Cahokia Mounds later. A little bit, not a
nice.
lot.
Is that what that is?
A little
I
bit.
can see it.
So, this next part is from this website called Hyperallergic, which I think is like, it's just like a news site that collects like articles from people. It's nothing like, it's kind of like a publisher. I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but they had a really good article about this whole thing. So, quote, Van Daniken does not discuss the site, which they mean Stonehenge, does not discuss Stonehenge any more than to say its massive stone blocks were from Wales and Marlborough. I cannot say that, good lord. The disproportionate speculation surrounding non-European versus European structures is noticeable. What this means is that von Daniken only mentioned Stonehenge in passing, but devoted entire chapters to non-European megalithic sites.
See, I don't think people understand because pictures of Stonehenge are usually taken from far away.
Yeah.
Those stones are massive.
Yeah, they are.
Like, they're not just like a couple feet taller than a human. They're like the size of a building.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And so, I mean, saying that, comparing that to, I don't know of a non-white cultural item that would, I guess the Easter Island heads as a comparison.
Yeah.
He would, I mean, just in this example, he mentioned Stonehenge literally just to say, I think the stones came from here. He would have had an entire chapter on the Easter Island heads and how the people could not have done it.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's how he handles all of those 4% of things that came from a European culture.
Have you seen how how archaeologists and anthropologists think how the Easter Island heads were moved around?
I think I have, but it's been a really
Maybe.
long time. So if you could re-explain
They
it.
would tie like fibrous ropes around them, and then each side would pull, and they would make them like wiggle back and forth like they were walking.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how you move heavy furniture,
Yeah.
is you like
Yeah.
walk it.
You
Yeah,
walk
that makes
it,
sense.
and that's what they
Yeah.
did.
So that makes
Probably.
sense.
Yeah. So
But that's cool because they actually have like the bodies and stuff, so it would look like they were walking.
Yeah.
We look like big tall people walking.
Oh my god, I love that.
So just continuing on with this, as Julian Benoit, a senior researcher at the University of Witwatersrand, I'm assuming that's in Germany, writes at The Conversation, ancient alien theories perpetuate and give air to the racist notion that only Europeans, white people, ever were and ever will be capable of such architectural feats as things like the pyramids. And that came from Mental Floss. So...
I'm sorry, do white people realize that no matter what theory of, like, how the world started, we all came from Pangea? We were all black at one point?
Yeah, but white supremacists think that we have evolved further because we are no longer black.
Okay, because apparently a chemical in your skin...
Yeah, we mutated.
Affects...
We didn't even mutate.
Yeah, you know, white people are so advanced.
Have you seen that chart?
Like, we're...
I'm sorry, white people haven't seen the sun in years, and therefore we're smarter.
That's
why
white
we have
people
white
are
skin.
so advanced that we get burned by the sun.
I don't know if you guys have seen that chart, but it's a chart of, like, I guess it's a map of, like, the world, and then the more dominant skin color in each region. Shockingly, the closer you get to the equator, the darker your skin is.
No.
Like, that's why we have white skin.
It's like they have sunlight every day there or something.
Like, that's why they had to evolve.
And that's what affects your genetics.
They had to evolve.
It's almost like my sister in Alaska is translucent because she hasn't seen the sun in 5 years.
Yeah, we evolved differently based on where we live. That does not mean that one of us is better than the other one. So.
Just means that they have better vitamin D than we do.
Yeah. So.
And you know what vitamin D protects you from? COVID. So.
Another issue with this whole thing, I mean, there are a lot of issues, but one of them is that it can influence people who still live within these cultures. So if you go to slide 19, this is a Mayan, I believe, a god Pakal. So Sarah Koenig tells this story in her TEDx talk. Several years back, I was staying in a small village along the Belize-Guatemala border. I spent day after day in the lab staring at tiny, brown, eroded pieces of ceramics. The Maya man who lived across the street made slate carvings to sell to tourists. He'd stop by every once in a while to chat, and one day he brought over a slate, showing the image carved into the sarcophagus lid of the Maya king Pakal around his death in 683 AD. It shows the deceased king rising from the jaws of the underworld to be reborn as a deity. In the center is a stylized world tree that extends from the underworld through the realm of the living into the upper world. And I think that's what this picture is, but I'm not 100% sure. This is that King Pakal, but I don't know if this is the exact carving that she is talking about.
It looks like it would
I think
be,
it is.
But...
So around the edges is a sky band with symbols for the sun, moon, and stars. I was so excited to talk with my neighbor about ancient Maya, religion, cosmology, and iconography. Instead, he wanted to talk about an Ancient Aliens episode. He had seen the one about the Maya, and he told me that the image was of an astronaut at the controls of a rocket ship. I was shocked. Instead of marveling at his own ancestors, he was in awe of a fictional alien. He even told me that one day he hoped to give this carving to Eric von Daniken, father of the Ancient Aliens phenomenon. So,
no.
This needs to be taken into context with the fact that many currently surviving indigenous cultures have lost so much of their own history because of the actions of white people, and it is very difficult to maintain the history that they do have. So, when you are told this thing, and I mean, obviously, I don't know what he knows about his own history or his own culture, but regardless,
they're just completely erasing everything.
Exactly. They're erasing everything, and they are presenting it in a way that makes sense to people who don't know, like, I don't want to say what actually happened, because that sounds really reductive, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. People who are ignorant of their own history or cultures, or of other people's history or cultures, through no fault of their own necessarily. So,
yes, but...
Yeah, it's just sad. Honestly, this whole story.
Well, it takes
so
away
sad.
agency. It takes away history. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, we've already taken everything else from them.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it just makes me sad and angry,
so
and I don't like
hate
it.
The History Channel.
I know.
Oh my god.
It's so bad. And white people.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But specifically tonight.
Yeah.
The History Channel.
So just continuing on with the racism issue within this series. So this is from a Forbes article where they had actual archaeologists review books or articles that were written by ancient alien people. It's a fascinating article. So archaeologists, this is a quote from that Forbes article. Archaeologist Larry Zimmerman reviews The Lost Colonies of Ancient America by Frank Joseph, who insists that mainstream archaeologists are the ones ignoring information on transoceanic voyages and that any number of past civilizations may have colonized the New World first. Zimmerman, though, notes that Joseph echoes half a millennium of speculation geared toward inventing a deep, old world history in the Americas, thereby challenging the primacy of American Indians in the hemisphere, or at least implying their inferiority, their poor stewardship of the land, and the need to civilize them, all in the service of manifest destiny and justification for taking their land. Yeah. So this, so Ancient Aliens, it has so many other, insidious contexts to it. And it's just, ugh. And so one example of this is explained in this quote from Hyperallergic. So in comments to Hyperallergic, Morag Kursel, an archaeologist at DePaul University, noted the connection between ancient aliens and the idea that an ancient and superior race had originally built mounds like those at Cahokia in southern Illinois. The myth supported racist policies and has done lasting damage. So if you can go to slide 20. So on the left is what they believe Cahokia Mounds looked like in its heyday, and on the right is essentially what it looks like now. Have you two been to Cahokia Mounds?
Yeah. I have been there, but it was a day that the I guess museum
yeah, they have a museum
was
there.
Closed.
Okay.
So it's basically me and my dad drove by them and then kind of walked around them ourselves, but we didn't get to see any of the
just so people know, there is a pyramid system in southern Illinois. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So Cahokia Mounds is it looks like a giant hill. There's a lot more to it, but that's what it looks like.
It's like a plateaued hill, but that's what's left of it.
Yeah, that's what's left of it.
And that's just what's left of it, and it only looks like it's just a hill because the rest of Illinois is so flat.
Yeah.
Yes. The hill is man-made, for sure.
Yeah, the hill is man-made. The Cahokia were
Mississippian people.
Thank you. God, I meant to do a little bit of research on the Cahokia, and I completely forgot.
Oh, I know a lot about Cahokia Mounds. I'm very interested in it. That was another obsession. 4th grade, Cahokia Mounds. Sign me up.
That was when we did.
All over it.
Or no, I think 3rd grade was Cahokia Mounds for the field trip. I don't remember.
That was Catholic school, so who knows?
Yeah. So just continuing on with this last comment with Cahokia. So this myth is an extension of the 19th century myth of the mound builder. No way could the North American mounds and artifacts have been made... Sorry, this is phrased really weird. Have been made by people of the First Nations. It had to be an alien or non-local race. Rather than set up...
Are you fucking kidding me?
I know. Rather than set up a white supremacy model, which may not have been as popular, Von Daniken takes the alien further to aliens from outer space. Which is an interesting chain of events. I don't know if that is exactly how Von Daniken's thought process went, but that's what happened.
Wait.
You know what I mean?
Wait, so he doesn't think that a Cahokian could have made a basket, dug some dirt from down the road, and carried it up to the hill,
and then put it with the other dirt,
dumped it out.
Yeah. It's a really big hill, Hannah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's a really big hill. And then...
Oh, it's so big.
Yeah,
it had to be an alien.
It had to have been.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's a really big hill, but
It's also a fucking hill. They're not that hard to make by yourself. You just pour dirt and wait for grass to grow over it.
Has he ever...
we make mounds of trash.
Yeah.
Every freaking year.
Yeah.
You can dig a little mound of fucking snow and make a thing to put your sled on.
I make a sandcastle every time I'm at the beach.
Yeah.
No, an alien made the sandcastle, Shelby. You are just a simple indigenous idiot.
And I'm not trying to simplify or reduce this process, because I'm sure it actually was very difficult to build a hill this size.
No, it's all mathematical and stuff, but just saying,
at its core,
to boil it down to its most
but
base
at the end
level.
of the day, it's not any more difficult than say Newgrange in Ireland, and he wouldn't have had anything to say about that.
Or even something such as
Newgrange is literally just a hill.
Making a dam, right? It's gonna be a lot of work, and it might take some math and science to know how to do it, but people can do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not outside of the realm of human possibility to do this.
Like, you think about, like, basilicas and things like that. Like, people make those.
White people made those. So.
Yeah, but, like...
So it doesn't count.
Yeah, so that doesn't
so
count.
Smart, and they can lift heavy rocks with simple machines and pulleys and levers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Haven't you read about the history of the ramp?
That we
Anyway,
didn't
the reason
even
I just
invent.
screamed... Seriously. The reason I just screamed was because I was petting Peppa, and she fell off my bed, and to catch herself, dug her claw into my hip. Which is now bleeding.
Great! Okay, I'm almost done. So, shockingly, Von Daniken often had racist questions in his writing. So this is a quote. I'm going to say words. I'm not saying the N-word, but I'm saying words. Obviously, I'm not going to say the N-word, but it isn't even in here. I'm saying words that are, like, similar to it, that we don't really use anymore, you know? I'm only doing it as a quote. I'm sorry. So, this is a question he has asked. Was the black race a failure? And did the extraterrestrials change the genetic code by gene surgery and then program a white or yellow race?
What?
Yeah.
If I had any more hair left on my head, it would be gone. But too bad, I've ripped it all out.
Yeah, Hannah's now bald.
As per this episode. I'm now bald.
Yeah.
I have no eyebrows.
Continuing.
I
just got one more little thing from him, and then just a tiny bit more, and then we're done. He also printed beliefs about the innate talents of certain races. Nearly all Negroes are musical. They have rhythm in their blood. Van Daniken also consistently uses the term Negroid race in comparison with Caucasians.
What?
Yeah! Remember, his book was edited by a Nazi. And he had to approve the final product. So just remember that as well. So yeah, the father of Ancient Alien, as a theory, is a vehement racist. So there's also that.
I cannot handle this.
Okay, I've just got one more little thing and then we're done.
Oh,
well,
God.
kind of two. So, as we've already said,
This is just...
I know,
It's just surreal.
I know,
it's so
absurd. So, by purporting this theory, they're denying agency and skill from ancient civilizations. So, Evaristo Benyara, a lecturer at the University of South Africa, stated that, quote, Western denialists would rather attribute the Great Zimbabwe to aliens who do not exist, which, like, I'll argue that point, but within the context of this theory, he has to say that aliens don't exist, so, like, I get it.
Yes.
So,
yes,
they would rather attribute it to aliens who do not exist than attribute them to the Shona people and the Africans who exist and who built them. The denial of the Shona people of their intellectual ownership, among others of the Great Zimbabwe, such as Kami ruins, is theft of history. And that's from Hyperallergic. And then I got one more quote from Hyperallergic and then a conclusion.
Seriously.
So, in comments to Hyperallergic, Robert Cargill, an assistant professor of religious studies and classics at the University of Iowa, who also served as an academic counterbalance on a number of episodes of Ancient Aliens, discussed the role of the program in supporting racist ideas of ancient capability. There is an underlying ethnic bias against people of color that many white people don't even recognize when the magnificent achievements of the ancient world are attributed to aliens instead of their rightful creators, the ancestors of modern Egyptians, Iraqis, Guatemalans, Peruvians, etc. This is not to say that belief in ancient alien theory makes one racist. However, attributing the achievements of the forerunners of darker-skinned peoples to aliens because you believe they couldn't possibly have done it themselves might be perceived as racist to the people of color who descend from those ancient innovators. Just maybe.
He's saying, I'm not saying you're racist, but you're pretty racist.
Yeah. And so, just to conclude, I want to end with a quote from Dr. Fadden that really resonated with me, and this is from that New York Times article, and this is how they ended the New York Times article as well. Isn't it so much more exciting to believe that humans, through their ingenuity and creativity, built these great structures?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes. Like, it just makes it so much cooler to be like, yes, humans did this.
Yeah, like, look at the cool
look
things.
People in...
Like, I am descended from freaking cool people.
Yeah.
And it's not even that it was just cool that people did it. People in the old days did it.
Without modern tools, without modern technology. They didn't have a laptop.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
They didn't have an iPhone. And they made these things. Like, that's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
If you look at Machu Picchu, which is never mind, I'm not
Oh
gonna
my
try
god,
to
it's
pronounce it, Quechua.
so freaking
The way
beautiful.
the stones sit on each other
I'm
is
sorry,
literally...
Quechua is so difficult.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Emma used to know some Quechua, but Machu Picchu. I never say it right, but I always try.
Yeah.
It's the way those stones sit on each other. Oh my god, it's like, it's literal art. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Like, it's so, and this is just my math loving brain, but it is so mathematically beautiful.
Same with the pyramids.
That's what it is.
Like-
It's the beauty in the math
Yeah.
of it. Ugh.
Because it's like, it's so perfect, and like, it's just, I don't know, it's not like anything we make nowadays.
Yeah. Which, like, we could.
And like, you can see the care and the love and
Yeah.
the blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
that went into it. I'm sure there was a
slavery
lot.
sometimes.
Yeah, the slavery, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know, just to erase all of that and be like, no, aliens did it. It's just like,
No, guys.
but why?
Well,
Why do that?
it also just shows, like, a deep down to the core misunderstanding of history and, like, cultural studies, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
and I'm
like
sorry, but
basic
we are
humanity.
That
we
too.
are not the smartest. We are no smarter than ancient civilizations. We just have different technology.
yeah, like,
Listen, do you like your iPhone? They invented the math that made it. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Right? Like, it wouldn't
Wasn't it,
exist if those ancient civilizations hadn't made Machu
the
Picchu.
first
Like,
flight to the moon was made with math that we don't even use anymore because it's just too complicated, basically.
yeah.
You know? Like, it's...
Everyone watch Hidden
Yes.
Figures. Great movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made me have calculus nightmares. Like,
I
It
will
was
say
right
I
before I
didn't
started
enjoy the
my-
book,
yeah.
but
I
it's just
never
because
read
the way
the
the
book.
book was written,
I never
not
read it.
because of the content.
Yeah.
I'm just very picky about, like, the way people write,
Yeah.
so
But,
that's on me.
yeah.
That's a me problem, not a book problem.
I just think, like, okay, so, like, the reason I picked this was that one of the podcasts I listened to, they were talking about something completely different, and they brought up ancient aliens, and they were like, oh my god, that would be so cool. And I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, do you not know how terrible this is? And, like, they didn't expand on it further, and I genuinely don't think they have thought about it any further.
Yeah, or they just might not know.
Yeah, or, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that they know, because I think if they did know, they would not have that stance. But I was just
Yeah.
like, what? And so that was what made me be like, I'm gonna rant about this for 2.5 hours. So, yeah, don't
I love it.
watch Ancient Aliens or anything on the History Channel, for sure.
it's all garbage.
It's all garbage.
It used to be good and about,
And-
like we were saying, like, human ingenuity. Like, there used to
Yeah.
be shows about, like, wow, remember these like cool marvels that people used to build, and like I don't know, it used to be like a feel good, like, wow, we did so many things, and now
Like,
it's
it used to be
how much
about,
can
like...
I get for my aunt's good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to be about, like, oh, this ancient civilization, and look at all the cool things they did, and they built these things, and blah, blah, blah. And now it's just, like, completely taking all that away.
Yeah.
It used to be good.
Travel
and-
Channel is becoming the new History Channel.
It kind
Yes.
of is, which is really weird.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, like, I personally don't think this theory would be as prevalent as it is without the show. I don't
Yeah,
see how it could be.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I place a lot of the blame at the feet of the History Channel.
Oh, for sure. Like, because it's what made it more widespread and more well-known.
Exactly. It's just...
And the fact that, like, even that guy she was talking about in her TED Talk about how, like, it's his culture, and he's even like, oh, no, the aliens.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Well, I mean, you have to think, too, from his perspective, he's probably never gotten an explanation for any of that. You know?
Yeah.
Because
we erased their history.
because we erased their fucking history. Yeah. So it's just...
Yeah.
This whole thing just makes me mad, and if you try to say that aliens built anything ever, I will kill you.
Come at you.
And, like, why would they have?
That's the
why
other
would
thing.
They have?
Why would they have done? And that was something that a bunch of
and then left.
Yeah, that was something,
why would they have built this giant pyramid and then left?
That was something that a couple of the articles got into, but I just didn't include it for whatever reason. I wrote this yesterday and I couldn't tell you why I didn't include it. But
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like that is something that people brought up. They were like, literally, what is the point of doing this? And then just fucking off back home. They aren't even here to watch their achievements like grow. You know what I mean? So like literally, what is the point?
So like there's 0 point to that. So like get out of here. They wouldn't have done that.
Like, no.
That's
and it's just
any life form, if they create something, they are going to stick around and either use that thing or...
Well, it's because the Heffalumps got in a fight with that, I don't know, other planet.
That goddess,
That goddess.
Which I never...
The goddess planet.
I don't know if he explained what happened to the Heffalumps after their planet exploded. I don't know if he explained that.
It was probably like a Superman scenario where they like launched one baby out to Earth. Like, I don't know.
This is something too, I should have brought it up under the anti-intellectualism section probably, but like the fact that we as like 20 I almost said 20th century, good lord, 21st century humans,
I hope
we
not.
look at like an ancient thing and we say, oh, that looks like a laptop. That's because we know what a laptop looks like, and our brain is like, oh, laptop, I know what that is, laptop. It's not because it is a laptop.
Oh my
It's because our brains are
I
stupid and put a modern lens on things, which you are not supposed to do. It is called an anachronism. You do not do that.
I have this book that I need to show you guys. It's like set up kind of as a picture book, but it's like on this archaeologist of like in the future and like a post-apocalyptic world essentially, and he comes across like an old motel of like what we would know as a motel, and it's basically him like finding all these things and trying to figure out what they were, and basically, and like the one that sticks out to me just because it cracks me up is he finds a toilet seat and he thinks it's some sort of like ceremonial necklace sort of thing.
Yeah, but like that's what we're doing to these ancient cultures.
Yeah, but I will find the book. I think it's in my sister's room.
Please. That sounds fascinating.
And it is so good, and it's like, it's funny in a like kind of like, oh, this person's so dumb, like they don't know what a toilet seat is sort of way, but it's also like really enlightening on like, we really don't know.
No, we don't. And like,
because if you went back to 1750 and someone was like showing you all of their cool shit, you'd be like, what the fuck? That looks like a blah blah blah. They'll be like, you idiot, that's a chamber pot. I'm pooping that.
And like, the thing with us not knowing, it's okay for us to not know. We don't have to have an answer for literally everything all the time.
It's okay to just have theories and not have like set knowledge.
Or to have nothing.
It's okay.
It's okay for us to say, we have no idea how they did this, but that's okay, they still did it. We don't need to know.
Exactly.
Like,
so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It is okay.
Okay.
Anyway, that's that on
That's
that.
been
That's our
2.5 hours. I did not mean for this to be this long.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Never assume on this show,
That's
Shannon.
true. All right, Hannah, you are so staticky again, bud.
Yep.
And then it stopped. Every time I point it out, it stops.
I think it's my phone.
Okay.
Oh.
I was looking at wallpapers for my phone.
Okay.
I really have to go to the bathroom though.
Okay,
so
our ending
let's be done.
is that we have no ending. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to The Triad. Our music is by Scott Buckley. Our audio is recorded by our sound engineers, Craig Bott and Audrey Credo.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr as The Triad Podcast.
We're also on Patreon as The Triad. Currently, all Patreon funds will go towards the cost of hosting the show. Each tier has its own rewards, but every patron receives our undying gratitude. Do you have comments, questions, or stories? Email us at thetriadpod@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive.